to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to
Welcome back to the show of delays. Because the latest from people who are in the courtroom is they started at 2:10 with a half-hour delay on the broadcast. That would put us at roughly 2:40, 45 till the feed is back. So until then, Brandon will come on and he will do his world-famous mime routine where he will mime the glacial shift of the great Alaskan glaciers. I've heard it described as spectacular, second to none, and a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So, Brandon, whenever you're ready, you can come on and show how the great glaciers move in Alaska. People in chat, please give him a little applause. He's a little shy. It's his first time on the big stage, but he's really been working on it. He has a very interesting, slow-moving glacier that, again, I have heard it described as life-changing. What's with the girl screaming before the drum solo? Why not? No, your numbers went up. How am I feeling now? Well, I feel like I'm getting a fever. So, I don't know why. Who's the girl at the end of the opening segment? Stock photo from Canva. Why are they delaying the streaming? Probably if something bad is shown, they can pull the feed. Yeah, maybe the cheese pizza thing could come out. Well, I'll be better soon. Now I have a cup of hot cocoa. So, she looks terrified. Well, she might meet me in Dollywood. Yeah, there's a lot of red tape around this case. Yeah, well, I spent half an hour under the covers, and now you can see I'm a little red, but I took a couple of pills, and I might end early and send you all over to Trial TV Live or something like that. Let's see how it goes. Do you need some moisturizer? It's always moist o'clock when I'm around. Do I have a thermometer? Yeah, but as long as I don't take my temperature, I don't have a fever. That's man math. I'm a little hot, but that's fine. I have nowhere else to be, and if I go to bed, I'll just be in there listening to the show and being annoyed that I can't yell at something. So I'll stick it out as long as I can. If I start shaking again, I might chuck you all somewhere else. Yep. Cold-blooded. But enough about my illnesses. It's a little annoying, but it's going to be fine. I have this ever since I went on my tours of duty. We got so many vaxes before we left that since then I have November, December, I have like 2-3 weeks where I just feel like crap, and then again January, February, I'll have a couple of weeks where I just feel like crap. I'm never really, really sick, but I just have this lingering ugh. So hopefully this will just be sweated out tomorrow, and I can do my trial, and then I go home and I put myself in I have like one of those infrared sauna blankets, and I can sweat it out. No, but I'm saying as long as I'm not, as long as I don't take my temperature, I don't have a fever. Yeah, it's not getting better with my voice. I need to take some Advil. Well, is it to dampen the nervousness when you're doing your performance art? I've heard it described as better than most independent theater groups. Exactly. Young and innocent, just listening in while working, hoping everyone is doing okay. Well, I'm alive. But thank you for joining us. And we have movement in court. Probably nothing. They just centered on the seal. But we are waiting for court to come back. They were supposed to have been back. Well, they're supposed to be back in 4 minutes, but they will be a little delayed. Oh, your elephantitis. Oh. Is it off the scrotum? I remember I saw a National Geographic back when I was a kid, a guy who had elephantitis in his scrotum. You would probably want it somewhere else instead of in the scrotum. That would have been more impressive. Well, I'm a professional. Grift, baby. We need to keep the grift going. Did you see that they pulled the morning? That stream has gone. Well, not my stream, but the feed from this morning. They changed the feed, and they didn't put it on the website like or the YouTube as they normally do. That's a little funny because Harry, my buddy in Germany, he always goes live at around 8 o'clock. He's the guy who translated into German while they are watching it. And he was, can you help me out? And the only thing I can say is Trial TV doesn't talk as much over the feed as I do, so that was probably the best solution. So he's going with that now, and that's this is a horrible case. It's but I think it's going to be the big difference will be, do they get the CP in? If they get the CP in, I think it changes dramatically how people will see this case. If they don't get it in, if they just hear stuff like we heard this morning, that they were harassing him, sending Knuts, then I don't think it's going to look that good. But It's going to be interesting to see if because he's claiming self-defense, not self-defense, he's claiming innocence. So he can't really take the stand and talk about the CP. Boinking Blinker is sick. Zach. That's why I never read your super chats, because you're mean. Can I give an overview? Yes. Let me just put Zach on the wall. This case is, it stems from 2021, where at around 11 in the morning, Christina is found unalive by her fiancé in her house. She's stabulated 31 times, and it looks like the body had been placed on the living room floor with rose petals around it. We haven't heard anything about the rose petal so far, but that's what brought me into this case. 3 days later, her fiancé gets arrested. Not for this case, but because while investigating possible leads, they find thousands of PDF files on the devices, both at his devices and at her devices. Some of these PDF files contains pictures of her daughter, who is, I think, 6 or 7, around that age at the time, and a friend of hers, in both just undressed and also in sexual positions. So that boyfriend or fiancé has been questioned today. They weren't allowed to talk about the CP. Later, they find a ring video where they see someone on a bike stopping at the house, walking into the house, leaving the house again 12 minutes later, and driving off. They find Zachary's DNA under her fingernails. So that's the evidence they have. And we haven't heard about it yet, but supposedly there's also a lot of communication between the defendant and the victim's ex-husband. But as I read the reports, only 1 or 2 of them are about harassing his ex-wife. At that time, he's in Italy with the daughter. And we don't know why he went there, but the mother is trying to get her back because she gave up custody. How much he knew about the CP, I don't know. I don't know if he will testify. I don't know if he can bring it in, if he can say that's why he went to Italy. But they claim this Juilliard-trained concert pianist helped his body out and unalived his ex-wife. The smoking gun is the DNA under her fingernails. They have tried to keep the DNA out, claiming it was gained in a shady manner, but we haven't gotten to that yet. We went through a few witnesses this morning, the 911, the first responding officer, the ex-husband, someone who interviewed her for a job the same morning, and according to the state, we will go to crime scene techs this afternoon when they come back. So far it's been a little, we haven't heard much, but we weren't shown it, but there were body cam videos of the first responding officer when he arrives at the house and goes in and finds the deceased. Or you can get Jess's updates. They're probably better than me. Bradley Post did mention it slightly. The CP? Well, did he? He didn't really say. The defense claimed that he said something that could open the door by stating that he got to know the girl when she was 3 years old. I don't know if the judge didn't seem to think that he opened the door on that one. But apparently the victim also has a history of being an escort. I think they briefly mentioned something about that. Either someone had signed her up for an escort site or she have a history of being an escort. I'm not sure I got that correctly. It is a very dark case. I thought it was just a unaliving with that weird rose petal thing, and then we learned about the thousands of pictures of very bad stuff. The fiance is charged with it, but he hasn't gone to court yet. Probably because you can't you don't want to have him convicted, because then they would be able to bring it in. So the state is probably betting on, well, we can keep it out that way, and then we probably can get our man. Because let's just be honest, if the jury hears that allegedly they diddled 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, they would probably not be as positive as they could be.
I'm not positive.
You're never positive, Jamie.
Now that I know this stuff. Just saying.
No, I said the fiance came home and called 911. Was that slight bad joke directed at me, Marissa? No behaving, Zach. Bad mod is here. Valhalla isn't here today. Well, the most important part this morning was the fiancé. And they tried to get him to open the door to the CP, but they didn't succeed. But hearing he met the deceased when she was 20 and he was 49 shows you what kind of guy he is. Oh, Valhalla is here. So Batmod is here.
Hey, Val.
I just saw the judge. I want to have glasses like that, Jamie.
Why? The ones that... Wait. Oh, that come apart?
Yeah.
You wear them around your neck.
Jury panel back in.
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Just bring them in.
Bring him in, bring him in, bring him in.
Yeah. Come on.
Teresa, the ex-mayor.
Hi, Teresa. Hi, grass is green. I just want to start seeing some of the evidence that links this guy to what happened. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, the DNA is probably the only thing that links him to it. Should I go to the Eagles parade with your 5-year-old on Friday? I didn't understand. Why did they dismantle the city when they won a game? I don't understand that.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I would forget to put them around my neck and they'll just fall off and I'll step on them. I never understand why people destroy their own city when they're winning. That's
Yeah.
Look at that coiffed hair. I would if I knew what that meant.
Well, because it's poofy. No.
So because he has a little wave in it, it's coiffed?
Because he's like all poofed and combed back, you know.
No, that's why I say I don't know what the word means.
That's what I was describing. It's like,
Yeah. So because you have a wave in it.
I guess.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way. I saw they were dismantling the poles as well. It's just
Called Darby Jackson.
means elaborately styled hair.
There
Thank
go.
you, Claire DeLune,
Clear.
for
Got real specific. I love it.
his hair looks fake. No, either just he's a young man. He has a good head of hair yet. Means styled. I played music with a guy who looks just like this guy.
What about this guy? What's going on with those little bangs?
I don't know.
It's like you brushed them straight up. Now you got me staring at everybody's hair, guys.
Well, that's what chat is about. Always removing focus.
Well, we have to have something to do. All this waiting.
Always when you pull up a Brandon, there's also always a little surprise in the end. Always a little bit of a surprise that I put on screen.
Should have learned.
No, but he starts out okay, and I think, oh, that's an interesting story. And then he Brandons it in the end.
Yeah.
Just wonder how this got roped into this mess. He knew the ex-husband. He was a mentor for him or something. I still haven't figured out how they knew each other.
Chairman Jackson.
Jackson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Where are you currently employed?
I am a paralegal for the Lawrence County Attorney's Office,
Okay. And back in October of 2021, where were you employed then?
Greenville County Forensics.
And what specifically was your role with Greenville County Forensics?
I was a forensic evidence technician, so I would respond to scenes, process scenes as needed.
When you say process scenes, what kind of activities would you be doing when you're processing a scene?
So it depends on the scene. I would typically go, I would document the scene, taking photographs, taking video if necessary, collect evidence, process for fingerprints and such.
Okay. And were you involved in this particular case specifically? Were you involved in processing a scene on 122 Canebrake Drive in Greenville County on October 13th of 2021?
I was involved in the investigation. I did not process the scene at 122 Canebrake.
Okay, so you responded out to 122 Canebrake.
I did.
Okay, and as part of you responding to 122 Canebrake, were you responsible for collecting some DNA samples for subsequent testing?
I specifically responded to 4 McGee Street
Okay.
to process the complainant.
Okay.
She's a paralegal right now, but she's the one who did the finger scraping. Back then, she was a forensic.
And who is the
A
complainant?
forensic lady.
Bradley Post.
Okay. And did you subsequently take buccal swab samples from Bradley Post?
I did.
Okay. I'm going to show Ms. Jackson what's been marked as States Exhibit 11 and States Exhibit 10.
I know, he might pass away, guys.
Showing you States Exhibit 10 and 11. Do you recognize the two items I've handed you?
I do.
Okay. And I believe they're labeled, so States Exhibit 10, DHE2, and States Exhibit 11, DHE1. DH being your initials?
That's correct.
Okay. So, to your knowledge, these are the samples that you collected at the time of your involvement in this case.
That's correct.
And after you collect these samples, or first, let's explain to the jury, when I say buccal swab, what exactly is that?
So a buccal swab is a cheek swab. We will take a sterile tubed cotton swab, essentially, swab the inside of whomever that we need to get it from, their cheek.
Okay. And you thereafter place it in a container like this?
That's correct.
And after you place it in the container, you seal it?
Then I take it to property and evidence. and my involvement is complete.
And in this particular case, with relation to States Exhibit 10 and States Exhibit 11, did you subsequently submit them into evidence?
That's correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move into evidence States Exhibit 10 and States Exhibit 11.
No objection.
Thank you, counsel. Without objection, number 10, number 11.
Yeah, it's a new technique because the buffaloes have all that
Thank you
ruffle.
so much.
It's easier to get DNA on it.
He crossed.
You have to
Mr. Jackson,
open
you
up
said that
real
you,
wide.
You were working now as a paralegal,
That's correct.
and you said the Lawrence Attorney's Office?
Lawrence County Attorney's Office, yes, sir.
What, is that the Solicitor's Office, or what is that?
No, so the Lawrence County Attorney, the county attorney will work more on civil matters, and he represents the county.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
I don't know if Mr. Hoffman asked you this, and if he did, I apologize. When was this sample taken?
It was taken on October 13th, the day that I responded.
Okay. I've got nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can you read your right?
Nothing with the state.
That was quick.
No objection.
It's funny how normally we would have gone through a 45-minute. How did you ever get close to a buccal swab? And now we just. You work there? Yeah. Did you take the swab? Yep. See you later.
Okay, bye. Yeah.
Your Honor, this time the state would call Master Deputy John Garrett.
Master Deputy.
Yeah. Do they have to get born, raised, and driven to court before they can? It takes forever to get them into the courtroom. Did the prosecutor introduce him?
You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I swear.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Jonathan Garrett.
Is this the lead detective already?
That's your current rank, Master Deputy?
That our investigator.
Investigator. Okay. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
I know,
I didn't see him in the morning.
where are you currently employed?
Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And what role specifically?
I'm a homicide investigator.
Okay. Were you employed with the Sheriff's Office back in October of 2021?
I was.
Okay. And what role? Was it
I
same?
was, I was a homicide investigator. Then homicide.
Okay. Were you involved in the present case specifically on October 13th of 2021?
I was.
Okay. Did you respond to the scene at 122 Canebrake?
I did.
And when you were responding to the scene, what specifically was your role there? What were your priorities in responding to the scene?
I was at the law enforcement center at the homicide office when the call came in, and officers, other investigators and officers were already at the scene. So before I left, I was tasked with obtaining the search warrant for the scene at 122 Canebrake.
Okay. And so on getting that search warrant, do you thereafter go through the scene?
Yes, I do.
The house, I mean.
Correct. And once I obtained it, I delivered it to the scene and responded for any other duties they were requesting.
Okay. What were your observations of the scene at the time that you went through it?
When I got there, the road was blocked off, probably a block or two on each side by patrol vehicles, yellow crime scene tape, and we also had personnel blocking intersections and protecting the scene around 122.
Okay.
Protect the weapon. What? 2 cop cars protecting the scene? I'm pretty sure that's not how you do it.
And so going through the house, what were your observations there specifically?
I didn't do that until later that evening. I was there for hours. Crime scenes was processed and document the scene. So I was waiting for another task, and I was documenting information where other investigators were going door to door looking for like video surveillance and things like that. But I didn't have another task until later in the afternoon. I did a secondary search or later. It was hours later, almost at dusk, to go to the crime scene.
So that would be after the technicians go through, collect what
Correct.
they deem necessary?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time you went through the scene, were you able to identify or collect anything at that time?
Yes. I was with the investigator's department at the time in a white clear plastic bag with a white powder substance in the living room near the front door.
Okay, you said the living room, was the living room the same room that Ms. Parcell was found?
That's correct.
Okay. If I showed you a picture of that substance, would you recognize it?
I would.
Okay. Approaching you with state's exhibit.
He found a white powder substance in a bag. Could be anything. It's probably just baking powder. Who knows? Maybe they were making a cake that day. That's why I keep all my baking powder in small bags around the house. Like a gram, maybe, in a bag.
9 and State's Exhibit 37. Starting with State's Exhibit 37, what is that?
That's the clear plastic bag with a white powder substance I observed in the living room area that you spoke of.
Okay. And did you subsequently, and I don't want to say collect it, but did you subsequently pick it up to identify it?
I did.
Okay. Showing you what State's Exhibit 9. Can you confirm for me that that is the bag that you picked up and identified?
It is.
So that's the position that you found that bag when you went to the house.
That's correct.
And then 9 is the actual bag.
That's it.
Your Honor, this time the state would move State's Exhibit 9.
Which is 9. I don't have a problem with the photograph coming into evidence. I don't think the full foundation has been completed for 9 in order to be entered into evidence.
I'm happy to continue later.
Number 37 comes into evidence, lay the foundation.
After collecting what State's Exhibit.
Wish they could use a microphone.
Exhibit 9.
I
What
know.
did you do after that?
I conducted a field test on it to see if it was a controlled substance.
Why do you?
It's called Malort. The aftertaste is worse, but then it's gonna be fine. But get yourself some Advil and go lay down some dark place, especially if someone cut into you today. And no, the rumors that Brandon and I have the same disease is totally not true. We didn't kiss yesterday.
Say, so in your first observations,
Not much.
you believed it to be a controlled substance?
Yes, sir. I had a previous assignment in narcotics for 14 years, and to me it appeared to be the way it was packaged, and appeared to be a controlled substance.
Okay, so what occurred after you conducted a field test?
It did a presumptive test for cocaine with a field test.
After that field test was conducted, what did you do thereafter with
It was ultimately secured in the property and evidence section at the Greenville County Law Enforcement Center to be secured.
So it was thereafter submitted into evidence?
It was.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move into evidence what is State's Exhibit 9.
I just found out, again, continue my objection. There hasn't been a full chain established yet throughout the continuation of where that evidence went. So until that happens, we would have an objection to it being entered.
Anything from the state?
Your Honor, a full chain doesn't need to be established at this point. This is the individual that collected State's Exhibit 9, conducted the initial, the field test of State's Exhibit 9. At this point, the foundation's been laid for whatever it may be to be introduced.
I agree.
So I wasn't lying when I said we didn't kiss yesterday. Maybe he did the training day test. You have Panilla is the one who gave me the bug.
Vanilla, you're
Typical
sick
Swedes.
too?
It's the
Goodness.
Swedes all
State's
the
Exhibit
time.
9, during your time on the 13th at Cane Break, What other roles were you associated with there?
I did a secondary search later after other investigators searched the rooms, but I never found anything significant of evidentiary value.
Understood.
But if there's a go-go powder, is this guy known for go-go powder? Or could it be like we saw with that woman who pew-pewed her own son, a drug deal gone bad?
Where did they find it at?
At the door.
Goodness gracious.
Thank
At
you,
the,
Investigator Garrett. I have no further questions for you.
Thank you. I'm here.
but at the victim's house
So
though?
what was the reason for going back?
Yes, I believe so.
The residence later that day?
I was on another team we were assigned different rooms to search for evidence. And I can't remember the rooms I searched, but I think there were the living room, another bedroom, there's multiple rooms in the residence. And groups
Not
have
me,
already
Farrell.
searched,
I'm
and then
healthy
other
as a
investigators will search
horse.
across and search behind them to make sure we didn't miss anything or just double check each room.
Do you know how many investigators and forensics technicians had already searched the house?
I don't. I know there were several out there, several investigators and a lot of forensic technicians, but I don't know the exact number.
Around what time was it when you and Investigator Sparkman went back in to do this subsequent search?
Dusk, around 6:30-ish.
Okay, and State's Exhibit 37, so you said this accurately portrays where that bag with suspected controlled substance was when you saw it?
It does.
That is before it was moved.
As far as what?
I'm sorry, this is before any officers.
That's right. That's where
constituted-
forensics documented its original location.
And so it is clearly observable to somebody walking by?
Yeah, you can see it. It was pointed out pretty early, I think.
Okay, so had that already been known to have been there, or did you find it?
It was already known. It was brought to my attention.
So somebody already told you that there's suspected controlled
Correct.
substance in there, and you went
Correct.
back and get it? Okay. And so what you did with that bag then was you took it to the property and evidence room?
Eventually.
Nothing really. His DNA under her fingernails, and then a video of someone leaving on a bike dressed in black. So could be Johnny Cash, could be this guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, when would that have been? How much later?
It was that day. I think it was logged in on the 13th. Later that day, myself and Investigator Sparkman together did it.
Okay, you Investigator Sparkman. Do you know who's, was it you, Investigator Sparkman, in the chain of custody?
Him. I was with him because I went and field tested before we took it. And
And,
therefore, we gave me the item number JS4, Sheriff Sparkman 4.
Okay.
The item number.
And do you know who got it out of the property and evidence room?
To be tested.
What do you, let me just ask you what you're pulling out there to refresh your memory with.
Property and evidence sheet, which would document the chain of custody. Or actually the lab report. I don't have what chemist, but it would have been brought out later, at a later date, to be positively identified by the forensic crime lab, but I don't know which chemist did it.
Okay, so would the chemist have come and gotten it, or did somebody else get it and take it to the
No, the
chemist?
chemist would come down, they would put in a request, saying it wanted to be analyzed, and then the chemist would come from the lab, pick it up out of property and evidence, and take it back to the lab.
Okay, so you don't know who the chemist was?
I do.
So you don't know who then had that State's Exhibit number 9 after you?
I don't.
Did you bring it to court today?
I did not.
Do you know who brought it to court today?
Not exactly. I could assume it would be the lead investigator, Investigator Sparkman.
Do you know who gave it to Investigator Sparkman?
In property and evidence, I do not.
Just a couple other questions. Did you have any other involvement in the case after the 13th?
Yes, I obtained another search warrant for 2 Tyndall Avenue.
Okay, and when did you write your report?
I wrote it months earlier, but it wasn't finalized until October 2024. It was a rough draft. It did not get processed.
What does being processed mean?
Cleared through the what we call our Code 5, an incident report system, where it's set in limbo for a time as a draft before it was approved.
Okay, when was it approved?
October 15th, 2024.
2024. Was that after you met with the prosecutor's office to prepare for trial?
I'm not sure if that's when we did or not. I can't recall when we met. But we're supposed to act because we're doing an inventory of what needed to be done, and this is one thing that needed to be done.
For finalizing
So
these-
2 years after is when he finalized his report.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything else?
Weird.
Yeah, that's kind of like in the Karen Reed case where they waited months before they wrote anything down. Christine McCall.
Kristen McCall. Yeah, he just pulled out papers without even asking anybody. That was weird.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But again, no one objected. It's okay. They say this guy unalived a friend of his ex-wife by stabulating her 31 times, putting her in the living room and spreading flower petals around it. After the unaliving, which isn't a part of this case, but hopefully for the defense, they can find a way to make it part of this case. They found out that the deceased and her fiance had tons of PDF files on different electronic devices. Some of them with their own, with the decedent's and her ex-husband's kid and her friend. A kid that was somewhere between 3 and 7 in those pictures. He knows the ex-husband. Somehow we haven't heard yet really established how they know each other. Apparently there's some WhatsApp messages about them harassing the ex-wife, but all of it is circumstantial, but his DNA is found under her fingernails.
That's what I said, Farrell.
McCall. Good afternoon.
Please tell the jury where you're currently employed and what your role is there.
I work for Greenville County Department of Public Safety, the Forensics Division.
Okay. And what specifically do you do for the Forensics Division?
I work in drug analysis.
Okay. And if you break down a little bit about what is drug analysis? I know for some of us, but what is drug analysis?
So in my job, I'm a forensic chemist. So officers may pull a suspect over or arrive on a scene and there's suspected drugs there. So they collect them from the suspect and then they submit them for property and evidence for analysis. Sometimes on the TV shows, you may see that they do a chemical color test and then they put it on top of the hood. Well, that's giving them an indication of what they're looking at. But a problem is sometimes that can give false positives, such as cocaine and benzocaine will both give you the same color test. So that's important why those drugs come to us, because we confirm or we not confirm what the officer thinks it is.
Okay. And what is your background there as far as education and how you landed in that role with the sheriff's office?
Before I worked in forensic
Jemima, do you still have the link you found earlier for the free Karen Reed stuff?
with the Department of Public Safety. I worked 13 years as a pharmacy technician, and then I also did 2 years at family court, and then I have 10 years currently with the Forensics Division. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Biology, minor in Chemistry, and a Master's in Pharmacogenomics from the Manchester School of Pharmacy.
And you may have said this, and I apologize for
Yes.
saying it again, but how long have you been in your current role with the sheriff's office?
I've worked for Greenville County Department of Public Safety. We're separate from the Sheriff's Office.
Oh, see, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we have, I've been there for 10 years, and before that, I worked 2 years in family court.
Okay. And in your current position, it's fair to say it primarily consists of you processing and analyzing these substances that are submitted to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Suspected controlled substances.
And approximately how many cases a month do you process?
I would say in a year, I'll do over 10,000 cases.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to qualify Ms. McCall as an expert in drug analysis.
Thanks, counsel.
I've got no objection.
Okay. The court will find her qualified pursuant to the agreement of the parties in drug analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, an expert witness is a person, or normally a person cannot give an opinion, but an expert witness is allowed to. And so when a person testifies, normally they must testify as to either what they saw, they heard, or sensed by smell. However, we do have an exception when someone is qualified because of it.
No, the one he stabbed is allegedly a PDFer.
Education or experience, and they are permitted to give their opinion in certain areas the court qualifies, in which the court qualifies them. And this witness will be qualified in the area of drug analysis to give an opinion testimony in the area. However, that does not mean that you must accept the opinion, but it is evidence for you to use in any way you see fit and give it the weight and credibility that you believe is appropriate. Please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. McCall, are you involved, how are you involved in the present case?
Well, I don't really read the background on all the cases that we get because we get so many in. Currently, our backlog is 7 months behind. So how I got a subpoena, and then I had a pre-trial meeting with the solicitors, and that is how I became involved that this was going to be going to court.
Okay, let me get more specific. Were you charged with processing any substances as it relates to this case?
I was involved with this case because the officer requested it to be analyzed because I'm assuming at scene, he thought it was a controlled substance, so he went to property and evidence, put the evidence there, and put a lab request with it. And then I go down to property and evidence and I say, can I have some drugs? And they hand me sometimes 60 cases of drugs, and I have to go through every single one of them and analyze them. And then I write a report, and then the report goes out to the different parties that are involved.
Is it something everyone can do? Just go down and say, can I have some drugs?
Right?
Hey, can I have some drugs? What do you have? 60 cases? Yeah, I'll do the smell test.
Involved in the case.
Okay. If I showed you a specific item, would you be able to confirm whether or not you conducted any testing on it for this case?
Yes, because when I receive my stuff, I make sure it's sealed by the officer, and if it's not, it goes back down to property and evidence because you want to make sure your evidence is sealed because that means that somebody could have tampered with it. So if it was open, I take it back down to property and I say, I'm not working this item. You need to get the officer to fix this. So when it gets fixed, I will go back down there and I will get the item and I'll come back to the lab and I'll do a chemical test that gives me an idea of what I'm looking at, and then I do 2 confirmatory tests, which is a FTIR and a GCMS analysis.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 9, currently in evidence.
Well, fingers crossed. And then you can have a plus one. You can take Jemima. She lives up there.
Could you confirm whether or not that's the item that you did testing for specifically for this case?
Okay, should I leave it down here? Am I allowed to bring it out?
You can.
Okay, okay.
No gloves. No gloves.
Yes, this is my item.
How do you know that?
I know that because I have a date when I worked it, and then there are my initials, and then here's the date when I opened the officer's bag that he sealed it in, and then after I weighed it, here is the weight of the item and then the item. So my initialing is all over this bag.
Okay. Did you create a report that indicated your findings as to what that substance was?
I did.
Okay. And what did you determine that substance to be?
Your Honor, I would object from the standpoint, Rule 901, for the purpose of authentication of the exhibit, the state has to establish from beginning to end, because it's fungible, who handled it, what they did with it. The probative value of her opinion as relates to the nature of that substance is nil, because there's been no chain of custody established, no full chain of custody established as to what happened from the time it was seized to the time this witness tested it. So with that, we would object pursuant to 403.
And I would overrule, and your objection is no.
I have it at 1.25, so it's a little fast, but he
I can
speaks
ask the
fast.
question again.
Yes, sir.
What were the results of any testing you conducted on State's Exhibit 9?
So after the test is, after we analyze the substance, I create a report and it goes through peer review, which is that one of my peers have to look at my results and we have to agree that we both agree that this substance is what it is. So when he has a state exhibit, I have an item of JS4 and it was described as a bag containing powder substance when I received it. But when I work my cases, I take everything out of the bag because weight is very important when you're looking at charges for individuals. So I did create a report and here it is.
Okay. And what did you determine? Did you determine that that item is a controlled substance?
I did determine that this item is a controlled substance, yes.
And what controlled substance?
Cocaine, 4.97 grams.
Okay. Can you speak a little bit, and I realize it's extremely complex, but and you spoke about it a little bit, but what type of testing you do to break down that finding?
Yeah, so at first I do a chemical spot test, like I said, like you watch on the shows, just to give you an idea. You get a color change. You're like, okay, like blue, maybe benzocaine, cocaine, procaine. So in this instant, I got this bag containing powder substance, took it out of the bag, weighed it. That 4.97 grams is the net weight, not the gross weight. Then after that, I ran it on an FTIR, and that basically puts light through the drug, so it vibrates and then you can see it. But the problem in this case is that the FTIR is only good for pure substances. It's not good with cutters. So sometimes when people sell drugs, they like to bulk up what they have, so they put other things in it. Say they might put procaine. There might be procaine, cocaine, and benzocaine in there, but I'm looking for that cocaine. FTIR, I cannot see it. So I have to take it to another instrument called the GCMS, gas chromatograph mass spectrometer, and it will separate out each individual ones. So if you go to your house and you take 5 different pills and you crush them all up and it's a white substance and that comes to me, I can tell you everything that you put in there.
Okay. So I know you spoke to it earlier, but how many times, ballpark, have you analyzed cocaine specifically in your current role?
Oh my goodness. I've been working 10 years and we do over 10,000 cases. I would say in Greenville, methamphetamines number 1, cocaine and fentanyl. Cocaine's probably fentanyl's probably coming in at number 2, and cocaine's probably coming in at number 3. So not as often as it has been in the past. It's just you drug trends of what people are doing.
Say hundreds of times?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay. What would you say is to the quality of the cocaine, the State's Exhibit 9 in this particular case?
Well, I can say after the analysis, it did have cutters in it. So usually when we analyze cocaine or cocaine base, which is crack, we can use the FTIR because it's usually a pure substance. But in this case, I couldn't see that backbone of the drug, so I had to take it to the GCMS. So it did have other substances in it. So I can't tell you a number on purity, but I can tell you that there were other substances in it.
At least to the extent that you had to do subsequent
I had to
testing?
do a subsequent question, yes.
I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
You said you work in the family court?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do in the family court?
I took payments and I translated in the courtroom.
Okay.
People picked up on bench warrants for child support.
You translated, do you speak another language?
Yes, sir.
What language do you speak?
Spanish.
All right. I wish I could do that. So, just a few questions.
Yes, sir.
You said that you roughly process or handle 10,000 cases a year. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
It's a lot of cases.
It is. We have a quota we have to make every month.
Okay. What's that quota?
100.
Wow, you're
That doesn't make 10,000 a year.
so, and you don't work 7 days a week, do you?
No, I work Monday through Friday.
Okay. Just kind of interesting. At 10,000 cases a year, would it surprise you if you worked every single
Why
day?
do they have to have a
of the
quota?
Year, you would on average test 27.3 cases a day.
Yeah. Just sometimes there's single item cases and you're talking about an 8-hour day. So we set up a whole run.
Wow, that's a lot of samples to test.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, 27.3972603
Yes, sir.
cases a day. In a normal workday, that'll be 2 an hour, 3 an hour.
You release?
No objection.
I would be on the product. No, I'll be fine. I have Marissa in the background if I need to go anywhere. I'll second that motion.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would call Milagros Miracalo.
Who?
Miracalo?
It's, yeah. Yeah, especially if you have to study all of it.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please be seated.
Milagros Maracayo.
Mr. Miracalo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Where do you currently live?
My address is 133 Cambridge Drive on Greer, South Carolina.
Okay. Were you living, how long have you lived there?
Around 9 years.
So you were living there throughout 2021?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the crime that occurred
Valhalla isn't allowed to leave Tennessee.
in October of 2021 on Canebrake Drive?
Yes.
Okay. Did
I'm fine. I have my hot
ask you a little
chocolate.
bit about
I'll soldier
your
through.
home there. At the time in 2021,
Marissa will yell at me if I
did you
don't.
have cameras around your home?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know approximately how many?
I think like 7 cameras around my house.
Okay.
So this is the neighbor where we possibly, I don't know if they're going to show this. We saw part of the body cam, so we might see the video of someone entering and exiting the house. Let's see if it looks like him.
And
Yeah.
on October 13th or thereabouts of 2021, did law enforcement come to you specifically?
Yes, they went to my house.
Okay. And what were did they ask about some cameras?
Yes, they asked about if I have some camera available.
Okay. Did you give them access to your cameras?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did they take footage from your cameras from that day?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Have you had the opportunity prior to trial to review footage from your cameras that day?
After they did it, yes, I was looking for some.
If I showed you the USB of that footage, would you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 15. Showing you State's Exhibit 15. Is that your?
Yeah, this is my senator.
Yes. Okay, so you had a
Yes.
chance to review that footage?
Yes,
And it's accurate from that day?
yes,
From your home?
yes.
Your Honor, this time the state removed from the evidence, State's Exhibit 15.
We have no objection, no.
Without objection, number 15 comes in.
Let's see the video.
Mayor Collins, thank you so much. I have no further questions for you.
Okay.
Why don't we see the video?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
They didn't put the video in.
Well, they didn't show it. I think they're just. Are they just getting like God, what's it called?
Chain of custody.
Your Honor, this
Chain of
time the
custody,
state,
and then they'll probably bring it in with the detective or
Peyton
whatever.
Sellers.
Yeah. Well, you can say a lot, but this case is moving quite fast so far.
Yeah.
We need an ME and a lead detective and some DNA tech, but other than that, it's moving pretty smoothly.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just thought that she would authenticate the video by showing it and saying, "Yes, this is what I downloaded to the officers." That's what I would have wanted, but sadly, no one listens to me, least of all Jamie.
Yeah. I am the worst.
I do need some DNA tech.
Please stop at the end of the bench. Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated.
I love that they make them place their hand on the Bible.
Donald Peyton Sellers.
Mr. Sellers, good afternoon. Could you tell the jury where you currently live?
207 Saratoga Drive in Greer, South Carolina, Canebrake neighborhood.
Okay, and how long have you lived there?
Since 2009.
So safe to say you were living there in 2021.
That's correct.
And for the jury, are you familiar with a crime that occurred in the Canebrake neighborhood on October 13th of 2021?
I am aware.
Are you familiar with the residence 122 Canebrake? At least where it is?
Yes, drive past it occasionally.
Okay. Approximately how far from your residence is 122 Canebrake?
So I think there's 380 something homes in the Canebrake neighborhood. I'm on Saratoga, which is on the other side of the neighborhood, I would call it.
Okay, so ballpark.
Probably about 4 streets away.
Okay, less than half a mile?
Sure.
Okay. Did you have the opportunity to meet with law enforcement after that incident, October 13th of 2021?
Yeah, I think it was October 21st. A deputy came by that house and asked if they could have footage from our camera.
Okay, so you had cameras on your house at the time?
I did.
Okay. And in meeting with law enforcement, did you provide them with footage that they were requesting or looking for at that time?
I did. I think I emailed Deputy Barnett a link to all the footage from that day.
Okay. And to your knowledge, all the footage there was accurate and represented what it recorded that day?
Yep, it was just pulled directly from the Nest Cam and submitted directly to the deputy.
Got it. Did you have a chance to review that specific footage prior to today's trial?
Yes,
Okay. If I showed it to you, would you recognize your initials?
I would.
I'm showing you what is State's Exhibit 12.
Yep.
Are those your initials on State's Exhibit 12?
Yes, it is.
And what's contained on here accurately represents the footage that you provided to law enforcement from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit.
Didn't some crime tech also cook up in the crime lab? Or was that in another state? I think I saw someone at the crime lab when we talked about the Karen Reed case, that someone had a lab of the meth kind in the crime lab.
So,
Probably. I'm sure somewhere they've done that.
I believe that's why they had that technician who had to get recertified.
Mr. Salazar, I have no further questions for you. Thank you so much.
Any cross? Just a few questions. Mr. Sellers, so you said you're about 4 streets away, somewhere around a half mile away?
I mean, I would call it the other side of the neighborhood. Yes.
And you've been made aware that the incident was on 10/13 of 2021, right?
That's correct.
And had you spoken to any law enforcement officers between October 13th of 2021 and October 21st of 2021 when you turned over the video?
No, not until the deputy came to my door.
Okay. Had you looked at those cameras to see if there was anything of significance prior to the officers talking to you?
No, sir. I had no idea what they were looking for at the time. They just asked me to submit the date's footage, and I did.
Okay. So you were just asked to give them all the footage from this one particular day?
That's correct.
Do you remember from how early until how late?
It was, basically the officer came to my door on the 21st of October of 2021, and I submitted pretty much the entire day's footage from the October 13th.
And the way you gave it to them was by email?
By email, correct. I emailed a link that gave them the full width of footage that they were looking for, and I think it was just, they said, give me as much as you can, and I gave it the entire date range.
Okay. I think that's all I have. One moment. No more questions. Thank you.
Nothing to say. You may step down. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, the state would call Stacy Rushing.
Well, maybe they just reduced the sentences a little bit and said, we skimmed a little off the top.
Mm-hmm.
No, because Brian Albert didn't open his surveillance camera. He got a month before for Christmas. Who doesn't leave their Christmas presents unopened for that long?
I gotta put batteries in all my cameras before I leave.
Oh.
Well, they haven't had batteries in a hot minute, so.
Well, you're never away from your house, so it's not a big problem.
That's not true, but anyways. No, I need a ladder to get to them, and I don't have a ladder. So I've just
Your dad has a ladder, so.
I know, I keep.
And you're going to text him, and then he's going to come over, and then he's saying, should I do it for you? And said, no, I can do it. And then he looks at you, and he just crawls up there because you know
Raise
that
your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand.
you'll
Do
be
you solemnly
hurt.
swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
No, I actually do have to have him bring his ladder over.
Oh, your solar power. That's why she has the cameras. Yeah, that's why she needs batteries, so she can check in from Denmark and say, put
where do you
the
currently
lotion.
live?
116 Canebrake Drive in Greer.
How long have you lived there?
About going on 6 years now.
Okay, so you're living there in 2021?
I sure ain't,
Are you
Pharaoh.
familiar with a crime that took place on 122 Canebrake on October 13th of 2021?
Yes, I am.
And I know you're on the same street, but approximately how close to 122 Canebrake is your residence?
They're 3 houses down.
Okay. Did law enforcement ever reach out to you around this time, looking for potentially video footage regarding
Yes.
that? Did you provide them? Do you have videos on your residence,
Yes,
or cameras, I should say?
I do.
Did you turn over to law enforcement any materials or videos related to that day?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review them at any point?
Yes.
And if I showed you that USB, would you recognize your initials on it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. I'm showing you what is State's Exhibit 13.
Good to see Puddletown is feeling better.
Are those your initials on there?
Yes, those are mine.
Yeah,
So did you have a chance to review the contents of this USB?
glad you're feeling
Yes.
better, buddy.
To your knowledge, is it accurate and represent events that took
Lefty.
place that morning?
Quit
Yes,
it.
it is.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit 13.
No objection, Your Honor.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Rushing, thanks so much. I have nothing else for you.
Looks like a young Peggy Bundy.
No question, thank you.
Good to hear. I'm not a big fan of the Puffy's shoulder sleeve thingy.
Oh, the
That's an
poofs.
80s thing.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Emily Brunson.
Emily, Emily, can you get to the witness stand? You can run super fast so we can get you off. Come on, sweet Emily. Brunson, Brunson, Brunson.
Chip,
I
chop, chip,
might-
Emily.
It takes forever for witnesses to get in. Is it when we see how short the courtroom is in the Karen Reed case, this is probably where the rest of the room went.
Yeah.
Oh, Massachusetts isn't using their square footage. Yeah, we added here.
I heard that too, Lefty. I was like, okay, he makes up his own rules.
Why are you always thinking with that part of the body, Lefty? This is a good Christian channel. We don't do that stuff here. Am I currently medicated? No. Well, I'm on cough medicine and a few headaches.
Just place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you. Please be seated.
Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum.
Emily Brunson.
Ms. Brunson, where do you live?
Where did I live or where do I now?
Where do you currently reside?
100 Steeple View Court in Greer.
And back in October of 2021, where were you living?
At 121 Canebrake Drive.
And where is that in
Just because you can pee doesn't mean it works, Lefty.
location to where the murder of Christina and Parcell occurred?
Right across the street.
And during that day, did you have the occasion to talk to law enforcement about some ring camera footage?
I did.
And about when did you talk with them about possible ring camera footage?
It's like maybe 2 hours after everything happened.
And how long had you owned a ring camera?
We got it the Christmas before, so Christmas 2020.
And was it functioning properly on October 13th?
It was.
Do you know how often it would cut on or cut off? Was there something unique about this
Yes,
ring camera?
it was triggered by cars going down the road, and it was very annoying.
So with that, did you receive notices of when your ring camera cut on?
Yes, every time.
And did you receive the actual footage of it?
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to go look them
Were
up,
you receiving a
don't
lot,
go
lot
look
of
them up.
footage?
Constantly, yes.
So whenever a car would pass by, it would cut on.
It would.
Did you have the occasion to give ring footage to law enforcement that day?
We did.
Okay. And have you reviewed that footage?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 14 and ask you if that is your initials.
That is my initials.
All right. And is this the footage from from your ring camera that you reviewed?
Yes,
And is it a true and accurate depiction of what that ring camera shows?
yes.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 14 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, number 14 comes into evidence.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
There are no questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. You may step down. Thank you, ma'am.
Good job.
Well, it is a public proceeding, so. But it is a little crazy that he wants to know exactly where they
Your Honor, the
live.
state would call Harvey Shropshire.
Shropshire.
Harvey Shropshire.
Sounds kind of like a weird British brown sauce. I never understood that what's brown sauce, and the other one that they eat pies at football games, Jamie.
Pies? Like
Yeah.
a blueberry pies?
No, like a minced meat pie.
Oh, what is a mincemeat pie anyway?
It's minced meat made into a kind of a saucy thing, put into a pie crust.
Is
It's
it
a savory
like-
pie, not a sweet pie.
So is it like a pot pie?
Jamie, stay away from the devil's letters.
Just place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thanks, please.
Yeah, Worcestershire sauce or HP, that's brown sauce.
Please say your name for the record.
Harvey Shropshire. Shropshire spelled
Love some Worcestershire sauce.
S-H-I-R-E.
Agent Shropshire, with whom are you employed?
South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED.
And how long have you been with SLED?
Oh, he sled.
25 years total, 31 years in total.
Congratulations.
A minced meat pie is a bunch of fruit. And I'm just about to go back to the US.
And what are your main duties for SLED?
I'm a tech agent.
Okay, what is a tech agent?
See, Fed
one part of
knows.
my,
Fed knows what I'm talking about.
Jobs is audio and video enhancements for the state.
For SLED?
Yes, sir.
All right, so
It's
tell
kinda
us
like a
through
Hot Pocket.
How that works.
Well,
Or
what
like
we
a
do
pasty.
in tech services, once we had that part of the division is whomever, it has to be local law enforcement or federal, we bring the product to us and we input that information into the computer to a format in which it's recognized.
And are you basically working enhancement software?
Yes, sir.
And have you had any special training on that enhancement software?
Yes, sir.
What type of training?
Through the company that we use is the computer system adjudicated. They send us off to Cary, North Carolina for training.
And how long is that training?
Whereas it's ongoing, yearly software update. And once you get your certification, you certify to enhance video and audio through the system.
And what are the abilities of this software?
It's only enhanced what's given to us. We can't change anything. Matter of fact, when someone brings us a video, we dump it into the system, we give the original back to whomever brings it to us, and we enhance while they're there, tell us what they need and want. And we enhance it from a still shot, and also we put it on CD or DVD form.
And then is that what you return back to law enforcement who requests it?
Yes, sir.
Is it
No,
typically requested by law enforcement?
I don't think they were any good in that case, but maybe it's better in this one.
That you assist them in enhancing some form of video?
Only law enforcement. We don't do it for the general public, yes, sir.
And does it matter where the video came from? If it came from a Ring camera or a Nest camera or any of the like, does it matter?
It doesn't matter whatever format they bring it to us. If it's analog or digital, we dump it into the system. Of course, we got to have a means of dumping it into the system. Through a VHS tape, we put it into the system and it converts into a format we can enhance.
So in this particular case, did law enforcement request you to enhance some videos?
Yes, sir.
And did you do that for them?
Yes, sir.
Already admitted into evidence is videos of 121 cane brake, 133 cane brake, 207.
What's wrong with people calling a minced meat pie something with fruit? A lot of weird people around.
Saratoga and 116 canebrake.
Yes, sir.
Did you have the occasion to dump those items into your system and assist law enforcement in enhancing those?
Yes, sir. And once we dump it into the system, whatever we finish, we always put it on the CD or DVD, and we mark it and give it back to whatever department brings it to us.
I'm going to show you some, and can you create stills enhancement from video?
Yes, sir, we can.
And how do you do that with this video?
The system, we make sure our system's never on the network, so no one can have access to it. Only the persons who are there to enhance the video. So once we do that, we have a printer that's set up for the particular enhancement machine, and we print it from there and give it to whomever needs it.
And so you print them out right there?
Yes, sir.
And that's the enhanced part of the video?
Yes, sir.
So you can, I guess, see deeper into the picture,
Right.
in essence?
And also, we also give those printed videos or printed still shots onto that same media, so that officer will have that same stuff too as well. He or she also go print.
And they take that
Yes,
media
sir.
with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as...
Show us the video.
I hate wearing glasses. I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Sadly, no one has picked up on any pianist jokes.
I know.
22, and 23.
Not even Lefty. It's straight for him, but again, he's getting older, slower.
Yes, sir, I do.
And so, what did you do with States Exhibit 14 that you would do in your computer?
Well, first, when we download the information to the computer, the officer who's there that needs the information, we comb through all the different video shots or in some cases still shots, and he said, well, this is the point of interest here, so I take the point of interest and actually magnify what's there. I can't change anything. I can't add anything to it. I can magnify what's there by zooming in on it, putting a highlight on it, like you see them circles on there, things of that nature.
All right, so I'm going to show you States Exhibit 16.
Show it on the screen.
Describe what you did on that one.
Well, one of the things we try to do is, if we have a person of interest, if we can get the video and comb it and follow it to where he or she is going to get some type of identifying marks off the person. In some cases like this, when it's a long distance like this, we tell that person, whoever the police officer is, hey, this guy's of a certain height or a certain build. Whereas he and she can go back to wherever the crime has happened, he can mark it and pinpoint how tall that person is. We do the same thing when it comes to bank robberies as well. We try to get them in the doorway to figure out how tall he is or how wide he or she is.
And so in this case, did you enhance a particular area?
Yes, sir. The front doorway, you can see the individual with a white sweatshirt, appeared to be a white sweatshirt on, and it looked like a backpack.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibits 16 through 23 into evidence. You've already...
Mushy piece, is that the piece you get to your fish and chips? It's great. Tartar sauce and mushy peas. I like it.
We do not have an objection.
No objection. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 come in as states exhibits. They come into evidence.
All right, Agent Shropshire, I'm going to ask you about States Exhibit 15. That would be 133 canebrake. Was that taken down to you for enhancement as well?
Yes, sir.
All All right, and I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Ask you to take a look at those and see if those are the stills that you assisted law enforcement in enhancing.
He said a white hoodie, a white sweatshirt, and a backpack. Well, mushy peas aren't starchy.
Yes, sir.
And are those the photos that you were asked to enhance off that video cameras that you received?
Yes, sir.
Are they true and accurate
Yes, sir.
representations? And where did you focus your enhancement on these particular, on exhibits 24 through?
On the individual on the bicycle, because it's not known for a person to ride a bicycle with a face mask on. So I try to get, it's a pretty tall bike. I'm 6'5" myself, so the person had to be a good sized person. So I try to get some type of features of the person, individual riding the bike, say for the mask he had on, and also he was dressed in all black.
Your State moves exhibits 24 through 30.
I'm sorry, that's my blood meter. I'm sorry, sir. That's somebody. I thought it was turned off. It's still ringing. I'm sorry.
24 through 30, Your Honor.
Was it his blood pressure?
I don't know, just some alert.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 24 through 30 come into evidence.
And then I'm going to refer you to State's Exhibit 12, where you asked to enhance photos on that particular ring camera.
Yes, sir.
And that is 207 Saratoga. I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 31 through 36. See if those are the photos that you assisted law enforcement in enhancing.
Yes, sir. A point of interest. Yes, sir.
And how did you? And I noticed there's a circle around it. How does is that part of your software to help enhance it?
Yes, sir, it is. Right. What it does, we tell the computer to zoom in on the moving object, and once we zoom in on it, in some cases, if the sun is shining directly on the camera itself, we try to even the playing field, you might say, make it so that it's like it's normal.
It's good.
And that's what we did at that point in time, is put a circle around it, because the sunlight itself is almost blinding the camera.
Bye, Steven.
Show you State's Exhibit 16.
I'll call you later about your extended warranty on your car.
Oh, God.
I watched one of those scam baiters yesterday. It's so funny when they just pull the rug on all these scams callers.
Mm-hmm. I like those.
To this jury, and instructor, you don't know anything about this case.
No, sir, I don't.
All right. And so I want you to talk about the circle and enhancement.
When we get cases in from all different departments, we really have a ball in the game. That's why we say we bring an officer in and tell us what he or she wants when we do these enhancements. And this is one of the cases where you got the camera shooting from a dark spot into a light spot to another dark spot, which is across the street. So we put the enhancement, we try to put focus on the individual that's in the doorway by using light and darkness of the enhancement system itself.
Hello, Aviva, and welcome. First time I've seen that name, but welcome so much. If you need an update on the case, please let us know, and we will try and update you what has happened so far. We are off screen while they're showing the evidence, so you can watch it better on screen.
If you'll answer any questions, defense counsel.
Yes, sir.
No questions for this witness. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. I like mushy peas with my fish and chips. I don't know why there's so much hate. Well, Jamie doesn't eat vegetables.
I don't mind peas, but I like them regular. I don't like them mushed up.
No, but you have them with your tartar sauce and your fish and chips. Do you know what fish and chips is?
It's breaded fish, fried, which I don't like fish, so I don't like seafood. So that's a thing. Sorry, I just don't like seafood.
Well, just wait till you get to Scandinavia. Look,
well,
mushy peas, tartar sauce.
Yeah,
fish,
I want no shrimps on bread. No shrimpies on bread. I mean, it looks good.
I'm gonna send you with Panilla home and make her. Well, you probably can't get crayfish at that time of year, but the Swedes really like to eat crayfish. Well, they like to drink schnapps, and then they eat some crayfish along with that, just to have an excuse to get drunk. It's Swedes. They just saying, Jamie. It's not something against it, Swedes, because it's true. Yes, I do eat. I had.
Take a short break, and then I anticipate 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will resume testimony for the remainder of the afternoon. Okay. Thank you again.
Okay.
Hey, thanks again.
I had catfish when I was in the U.S. last time. I don't mind as long as it's deep fried fish. I'm fine with it. I like a good. What is a rose petal called in English?
No, I just like regular.
A place? I think it's. Is that the real name? I don't know. This type of fish, fried with a whole heck of a lot of. You bread it and then you fry it in a good warm pan with a lot of butter, and then you put it on rye bread and a little dabble of citrus on top of it, and then remoulade all over the place. Jamie, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it.
Yeah, well, you enjoy.
Fresh sweet peas with spaghetti is delicious. I like, but yeah, you not with spaghetti, but with what is it?
Like
It's the penne al
carbonara.
arrabbiata. Isn't that the one with the peas?
Isn't some kind of carbonara or something? Is like with peas. That's
No, I
good.
think penne al arrabbiata is the one with the peas,
Maybe.
because the other one is, I think, bacon and cream.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe people in Louisiana are actually Swedes. They also like drinking in crawfish. Could be. Is that the flatfish? Yeah, that's the flatfish. Oh, you call it a flatfish as well, but we call it a red woodpecker. Is probably the most accurate translation.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. No, you don't need onion on fish. Keep that away from me. I don't like smoked fish. Have to have parsley with fish, not battered. Yeah, if you're having, we have a dish that's called like a shooting star, which is a piece of rye bread with a piece of fried fish and a piece of cooked fish. You have some parsley on that one. That's good. They are on a 10-15 minute break. You love smoked salmon? I'm not a big fan of any smoked fish, especially salmon, because you just always get it everywhere.
So if they're delayed and they're on a break, shouldn't they be done already?
Yeah, but the feed will still be delayed, Jamie.
Oh, I thought you were behind.
There's no cream in carbonara.
You're not?
Yeah, I know it's a bird, but that's we call it red spette. Spette is a woodpecker. Why? I wasn't there the day they named it. A European place, yeah, but if I can do like Valid from Kongerne. Do you have a red spat? No, that's what's his name, Ingman, when he went to Japan. Do you have some red spat? Yeah, but spring onions is still. My dad's favorite was sweet swordfish steaks. Never had it. Yeah, it's a really good fish if you butter fry it. It needs to be butter fried, not deep fried. Butter fried is the best. Cheese and eggs in a real carbonara.
Oh, that sounds good.
Smoking dries the fish out. I'm just not a fan of most smoked things. I don't like that smoky flavor. And the olive oil, yeah, to keep the burning point so it doesn't get brown. Dirty show today, packers and pianists. Woodpeckers and pianists. Jamie, do you want to be a lord or lady of Scotland?
I would not, thank you.
Why don't I get all? Do you have to be someone saying Disney they suck so bad to get all these advertisements for all the scams? I hate fish, but give me some clams and I'm happy. Steamed, fried, chowder, never raw. I'm a happy camper. I have had one time I tried oysters. Last time I'll ever do that. It's like eating a loogie.
Oh,
It's so nasty. No, you just have to put a little salt water and no. It's absolutely nasty. And everyone is, oh, it's so great. It just tastes like salt water, and it feels like you just and swallowed it. My father-in-law smokes the salmon and finish it with honey. Makes both smoked salmon taste rancid. The Swedes like to get drunk on occasion, but the Danes are just drunk all the time. No, that's because every time you come over here, we need to get drunk to try and understand what you're saying. And back in the day, Jamie, we might have had an advertisement saying, keep Denmark clean, follow a Swede to the ferry. Which I'm not proud of. But they were always making trouble.
Yeah.
I bet you Pernilla is one of those who sat with some elephant beer and was yelling in Helsingør. You chewed the first and last one I ever ate. Oh. Oy.
God.
Yeah, snot in a shell. Bearded clams are good most of the time. Sometimes you get a bad one and you have to just say, no, I won't do that. I had my pleasure, buddy. I hope you got through it. I don't know if you've been following the afternoon, but it's been fast. They have just been putting evidence in. We don't have any conclusions yet. DNA evidence, some drugs found somewhere, and videotapes. That's what we have had this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a dot or what? I think it's an interesting case if they can get the cheesy pizza in. It's going to be very interesting. But so far I can't see how they got in there. Of course, Pernilla loved that one. See, Jamie, it's not just me.
What? Oh
Yeah,
my
no
God.
conclusions at all so far, but I think they're gonna put everything in with the medical examiner and the lead detective.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I love the Swish and the Swiss Miss hot chocolate.
It is good stuff.
I don't know what that is.
It's a brand.
Oh.
Swiss Miss hot chocolate. Yeah.
Salmon with brushed on Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Ugh, I don't like your barbecue sauce. Lefty, we expected more of you. Well,
Yeah.
we didn't, but we know you. The average pianist is only 5 inches. Well, not in Europe. We are on average 7 inches.
Oh my God.
It's just if anyone was interested. That's why we laugh when the American lady says, "Oh, I want 666," because that's a low number.
Oh.
Well, apparently this guy wasn't that sensitive.
He might have been if he found out about the CP stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he went over there and went, "Take that, you awful woman."
Yeah, and again, well, yeah, there's the DNA under the fingernails, but still, it's a pretty good circumstantial evidence, but apparently because as Jemima said, we have a guy in black clothes and a guy in a white shirt now. That's 2 people.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see all that stuff because we know how it is when they tell you, "Oh, we have all this evidence," and then they show it to us and it's absolute dog crap.
See how friendly we are, Jamie. Even at the kindergarten, they gave Pernilla some wine so she could relax while the kids were sleeping.
Isn't that sweet?
Well, it's not that. Well, today everything has gone to hell in a handbasket, so you can't drink anywhere anymore. People are weird. But back in the day, yeah, that was no problem. When I had my first kid, the
Night Pop just went after Mass, and I don't know. It was just funny.
he didn't share a link. Oh, maybe. Oh, he did.
Where?
Well, you can't see it, but I can see it because it's deleted.
Oh. Oh man, it was ruthless.
Nightbot is set up to don't share links because sometimes we have trolls in here. That's why I don't share links.
Yeah.
If you have a link you want to share, talk to the girls. They can do it because it's just to make sure that all the body bots don't share something stupid.
I thought it was funny.
I can remember kids TV, probably early 80s, about drinking. And that was for kids like 4, 5, 6 years old. And they were all sitting there in their hippie knitted sweaters with their pipes and those weird big glasses with the misty glass. I don't know why everyone had not like sunglasses, but still a little brown tint to it. And they were just sitting there drinking and talking about drinking. That was kids TV. I'm not saying we are weird, but we are.
You kind of are. Stuff we've been hearing about.
I can remember when you could smoke on planes. That was fun. So the non-smoking section were the 2 last rows of seats in an airplane. And my dad was so angry because my mom wanted to sit there because she had 4 kids flying with her. So, yeah, the smoke knows it can't enter the last 2 rows, so there wouldn't be any smoke there. But right behind were the toilets, and you were allowed to stand by the toilets and smoke. So my dad just stood up, took a step backwards, and smoked his pipe there. But he wasn't allowed to sit in his seat and do it. Because it makes sense, Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, people are doing good today. You still see that on your TV? I didn't think you have as progressive kids TV as we have. Well, not on TV, but we have Far til 4 is a Danish old from the 60s where a kid needed her night beer before she could go to bed.
Night beer?
Yeah. Yeah, she needed a beer to fall asleep on.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, amongst other things, just how weird the world was when we were younger. I, as a 27-year-old, has seen some stuff. Peter's doing good today.
You say Peter is?
Yeah, he's only 14% baked.
Oh.
And Holly Mac is rocking 90% Swayshire. It's still not the 98% that MG had the other week, but it's up there. Yeah, and they didn't take as much out of the state coffers again because they died younger. Check Discord. You check Discord.
Yeah.
This is the guy in black on a bike. Can I open this so we can see it better? I can. Yeah, that's something different than the person who was at the door.
Yeah, because the door looked like a backpack.
Oh, it's a white
and he had
shirt.
He had like a light shirt on.
Yeah.
And then here
That's,
we are all black. And he's got a mask on and everything.
Yeah. No, it was Pusle. I think it was a normal beer she was drinking. And she was swearing. But didn't Little Per also smoke cigarettes? And he's probably been like 9 years old or something like that. What is the timeline for this particular case? It happened back in 2021. And when did it happen? I'll have to go check my notes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Marissa said maybe he changed.
Inside the house?
Inside the house, yeah, like 12
He
minutes.
had 12 minutes.
Do this and change and get out.
Yeah.
So, well, they have him coming out, right? Like,
We haven't seen that yet.
well, I mean, they have to, right? If they have him going in, they possibly have him coming out. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what they show us. It happened the 13th of October in 2021. And he was arrested the 3rd of November 2021. But before that was when they arrested her fiance for all the PDF file stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. Didn't Mummy Dad also have a pipe? Or was it My who had it? That's not... someone is doing better today.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, it's Tuesday and raining and I feel like crap, but don't tell Baker my knee is swollen and I'm limping around or he will call me Gray. Well, you don't have to tell me that you have bad knees.
What is with everybody being sick?
Well, Jamie, It's in the air.
I know. Well, I don't want it. I've been staying away from the sicknesses.
Do you know what else
What?
is in the air?
What?
Love is in the air.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day on Friday.
No, what are you getting me?
Well, your gift is me coming to see you and making you show me castles.
Do they have really long
Me and
pipes in
Iris
Denmark?
forcing you to come hang out with us and drag you around everywhere. That's it. Happy Valentine's Day.
Like one of these ones?
What is that? What is that thing?
That pipe is from when my I don't even know, my great granddad were in the dragoons. He had this made, so it's probably 100 years old, with a little cap on it as well.
Oh.
So that's a little fun momentum to have. So yeah, we do have some old pipes, big old pipes. I don't think you can smoke on it still, but you probably could at some point.
Y'all ready? Anything before I get the jury back? Nothing.
Y'all ready for this?
Okay, bring my jury back. Thank you.
Baker do a rain dance. I go out into the world and I have a bunch of nieces and nephews that I'm around. So you would think that I would be sick all the time because they are constantly sick.
I never learned how to smoke a pipe. That's more my dad who did that. But actually, the same guy who made that pipe, he was in a battle called Düppel, where we were fighting the Germans. And because he was in that battle, they were allowed to be buried with a special flag on their tombstone. And I have that flag also and his medals from that war. That's a little fun. Show us your clocks. I have Adidas clocks.
Your Adidas.
No, Adidas.
That's not how you say it.
It's a German.
Oh, is that a off-brand version?
No, Adidas is Adidas. It stands for Adi Dassler was his name, and Puma was his brother who started that company. That's quite a big head for such a small pianist. Yeah, he has a... he do have a head on him.
I love Puma. I have a bunch of Puma slides. They're the best.
Yeah, Adidas. Clocks are Dutch. Well, if you're out on in the countryside, a lot of farmers still wear clocks in Denmark. His name was Adolf. No, Adi. Was Adi Adolf? No, it's Adi and... Why can't I remember it? I had to watch a movie about it in German once. I used to have a lot of Puma shoes, but then I thought I don't know, they changed something about the soles in them, so they weren't as good. So I went back to I actually train in Adidas shoes. Adolf Dassler, yeah, but he was called Adi. No, it doesn't. You people. Sluggers, they are made in America and they are like waterproof clogs, easy to clean too. Oh. Yeah, that's the ones all the farmers walk around in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please be seated.
Jeepers. Doinks, you're such an idiot.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Donna Gorman.
Oh, she smokes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Gorman, can you tell the jury where you reside?
117 Canebrake Drive.
All right, and how long have you lived there?
15 years.
15 years. And so you were living there on October 13th, 2021?
We were.
And do you remember that day?
I do.
And before we ask you about that day, did you know Christina Parcell? No. Had you ever talked to her or seen her?
No, I've seen her, but I never talked to her.
And did you know where she lived at
Yes.
that point? Where did she live?
122.
And where is your house in relation to 122?
Like 3 away on the opposite side of the street.
Okay. And so that morning of October 13th, 2021, what were you doing?
Having my morning coffee.
And is that what you typically do every morning?
Because my husband had gone back to work.
And are you currently working?
No,
Are you retired?
we're all retired.
Congratulations. So that morning, where do you usually take your morning coffee?
At the kitchen table.
At the lanai.
By the window.
By the window. And the window that you're referring to, what does it look out onto?
The Canebrake Drive.
All right. And is there a sidewalk that you can see?
Yes.
And if somebody were to
My kind of
walk or
lady.
bike
Get
past
your
you,
coffee
would
and
you
creep
be
out the
able to
window.
notice them?
That's what I
Yes.
do.
That morning.
You complained that your neighbor is nosy.
Are you familiar with Christina Parcell?
I'm nosy too, but I stay in my house and be
Yes, I
nosy.
saw her taking her daughter.
They
to
go
school that
outside and be
morning,
nosy.
Walking.
So you saw Christina Parcell and her
That
daughter?
morning. Yeah, going to school.
And how would they go to school and pass your house?
They walk up to the end of the street. The school's across the road.
And so about what time did you see them?
I was
walking
like
to school?
7:30.
7:30? Do you remember what Ida was wearing that morning?
No.
Did she have a backpack on?
Yes.
All right, and so you saw that from your kitchen table, is that what you
Yes.
said? Um, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 108, and I ask if you recognize that photo.
I do.
What is that?
That's my plant.
That's your plant?
That's my side window that goes out to Canebrake, which is right here.
And is that the view you have from where you were sitting that day?
Yes.
Is that a true and accurate depiction of the view you had on that morning?
Exactly, yes.
Your state moves Exhibit 108 into evidence?
No objection.
108 comes in without objection.
He was smirking. What's funny? I like to just
Do
see
you
what's
that
going
photo,
on.
Ms. Gorman?
Nothing wrong with
And is
that.
that, so if you, in that photo, about where, were you sitting on the closest part of that photo looking towards the plant?
I was sitting facing this way, and I was looking out that way.
And looking out the window right there?
Mhm.
And out the window is that cane brake
It is.
right there?
It is.
You testified that you saw Aida and Christina walk past you towards school. And around 8:15, were you still sitting there at your thing?
I was.
At your seat, at your table? Did you see anything of interest that day?
Yeah, I saw somebody on a bicycle.
All right, and so tell this jury what you would have seen from that vantage point right there.
There was a guy on a bicycle right here, dressed in all black with put a mask on his face.
So where about, and so I see those two trees in the photo. Where was he about where those two trees were?
Right in between them.
Right in between them. And you can see through your plant right there and see him? All right, and so can you describe the person that you saw and about what time it was?
He was tall and skinny. It was on a black bicycle. He was all dressed in black. I did say his sweatshirt was gray, but it was a hectic day that day, very scary, and it was all black. And I glanced over and saw him, and then I finished reading what I was reading. I looked up, and I didn't see him anymore.
So when you looked over and you saw him, was he wearing a backpack?
Yes.
Now,
What about the white shirt we saw in the other photo?
Yeah, we saw a white shirt in the other photo, so did you see that?
And this picture, she didn't take pictures of the incident. It's just where she was situated.
when you saw him for the first time, did he have anything on his face or his head or anything like that?
No.
And so, what color skin did he have?
White.
What color hair did he have?
It's like, kind of like a reddish sandy color hair.
And were you able to see his face?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit?
Mhm.
How would you see his face?
Because he kind of turns and then turned back.
And did he have gloves on?
Yes.
Or so he was wearing gloves when you saw him?
Well, he was putting them on.
Okay, he's putting his gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he put his gloves on, what did he do?
I guess he got back on the bike and started riding, but he wasn't riding fast enough to get down canebrake. When I looked back up, I didn't see him anymore. I didn't see him go in or come out.
Now, did he put a mask or anything on before he left your vantage point?
Yes.
What did he put on?
A white mask.
And
a hat.
And a hat?
Well, the hood.
A hood? Or?
Well, he had the hood on his coat.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 24.
I hope they have.
Do you recognize, is the person that you just described to this jury look like the person in that photo right there?
Yes.
How so?
It just does.
Is it the same color bike? Is it the same clothes? I need you to respond.
Yes, it's just scary.
It's not scary. It's a man on a bike.
Is it the same mask that you
Yes.
saw and put on? And is it the same type of hood or hat?
What's scary is what those people were doing in that home to children. Sorry.
Yeah, and again, this is 2021. A lot of people were biking around with masks. I don't know how the rules were in South Carolina, but I saw people alone in their car with masks on. So maybe it's not scary. It's just someone who was following the guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about a backpack?
It's on there. It looks black.
Is that the same person that you saw that morning around 8:15?
Yes.
Ms. Gorman, you recognize that person in this courtroom?
Yes.
Will you point him out for
You
me?
can't. You don't know who it
Are you
is.
pointing to the defendant?
He's right there.
Or let
That's
the
not
record
the guy
reflect
you saw.
that
You
pointing
can't.
to the
You can't
defendant.
say that.
No. I saw him and I was scared, and he looked back, and then he drove off, and I didn't see him again. Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy right there. Come on
Ms.
now.
Gorman, did you talk with law enforcement that day? Did they come and talk to you about this?
Oh, there was a lot of people that day, yeah.
And were you able to kind of see the activity going across over at 122 Cambridge?
Yeah.
Did you pay attention to it and watch what was going on?
Well, there was a lot of us out there.
Did you see Brad Post over there?
I saw him walking around over there, yeah.
Did you recognize him as well?
Yeah.
And do you know about how many law enforcement officers you talked to that day
Oh,
about what you
gosh.
saw?
I have no idea.
Hey,
There were
Rexy.
so many. So many.
Ms. Gorman, if you'll just answer any questions defense counsel may have.
Good afternoon, Ms. Morgan.
Good afternoon.
My name is Andy Morgan. We've never met before.
No.
Just to be clear, Ms. Gorman, you said that you saw this person at around 8:15 on the morning of October the 13th. Is that correct?
That's right.
And you said that that person stopped and did a lot in front of your window. Just decided to stop right there.
Yeah.
Mr. Wilkins showed you a picture of a person in a white mask. Remember that?
Yes.
And you looked at that. You looked at that picture and you said, that's the white mask." You remember saying that?
Yes.
You
Spit it out. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, he
You talked about, let me back up. If I understood your testimony, you said that you had seen Christina Parcell, but you'd never talked to her. Is that
I
correct?
never talked to her, no.
Right. But you had seen her.
I had seen her, yeah.
You also talked about seeing Brad Post. Is that right?
Yeah, in the driveway.
And
Zach, be nice.
isn't it true that Mr. Wilkins and Mr. Hofferth and then another police officer came to your home on October the 28th, 2024? Is that right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So more than 3 years after this happened, they came to your home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when they came to your home, did they tell you that there was a trial coming up,
They said they didn't know when.
but that there would be a trial?
There would be, yeah.
Right. And that's when they talked to you about things that happened more than 3 years earlier. Is that right?
Yes.
So they never talked to her before that?
No, not until 3 years later.
Do you
That's
remember
BS.
in the conversation you had with them more than 3 years after this happened, telling them that you knew what Brad Post looked like because you had seen him at Christina's house? Do you remember that?
Yes. I saw him in the driveway and then a few times going into her home when they were dating.
And it sounds like you sort of have your pulse on what's happening in the neighborhood. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
Does that usually happen when you're drinking coffee in a
I laugh with a little chuckle.
Yep. Well,
She
Yeah,
reminds
own
me
it,
of
lady.
Roger. Oh, Roger.
own it. Yeah.
morning?
Yeah, I just watch out for people. I don't know. It's just an instinct I have always had.
No, I get it. So if you were looking out that window a good bit, I mean, isn't it true? Or you tell me, did you see Brad Post at that location a lot?
Not a lot, no, a couple times. But I did see him that day that unfortunate mishap happened.
saw him there enough where you felt like you knew what he looked like.
Yeah.
Come on.
Would you see, you talked about Christina and her daughter Aida. You testified about that. Do you remember that earlier?
Yes.
You talked about how you would see them going to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
This was in a quiet little neighborhood.
Please answer yes.
Yes.
Just to make it clear. And she went to Buena Vista, is that right?
Exactly, yes.
Which, and what time would she typically be home, come home?
2:30.
2:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah, they get home at 2:30.
Isn't it true that the first time you told anybody in law enforcement what you saw was on?
Hold on.
What?
She saw him at 8:15 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what she said. And I was waiting for him to tie it all together because he kind of just brushed over it, but it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, because the guy's seen entering the house around 11 or 10 something.
I thought it was 9:15 to 9:27 or something like that. Or
So
it's
an
like
hour
9:30.
later, he's back. He's just patrolling the area. She never sees him again. She sees him an hour before. And then he disappears.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell
He's
me,
a hammer down on
did
that.
you meet with anybody in law enforcement to tell them what you saw that day before October the 28th?
There was a lot of them out there. Yeah, a lot of detectives, sheriffs, a lot of people talking to us.
Okay. But the first time you met with Mr. Wilkins and Mr. Hofferth was more than 3 years after this happened. Is that correct?
That's correct.
One second here.
9:27. So that's an hour and 12 minutes later.
Yeah, 9:15 is the pick of the guy in the white at the house. 9:27 is the pic I sent you in Discord, so that's him leaving or whatever. And 8:15, the victim was supposed to be at an interview. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
no, at 8:30 she was at an interview. She had just left the house to walk the daughter to school. So she wasn't at home at that time. She wouldn't be home at least till 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So,
In one of the exhibits,
and 4
Mr.
blocks
Wilkins
away.
showed you, the person on the bicycle was wearing a hat. Is that correct?
Well, a hoodie that was on the coat.
No, he has a beanie on.
So is it your testimony that person was not wearing a hat, just a hoodie?
He's wearing a beanie.
I know. When she said he had his hood up, I seen that and I was like, well, that doesn't look like he has his hood up. It looks like a hat.
Yeah, he's clearly wearing a gray hoodie or a beanie.
This is
Or
why
some-
eyewitnesses are not always reliable.
Eyewitnesses are almost never reliable.
Yeah.
And if he had a beanie on, how could she see his hair? Again, sounds weird.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Anything else?
Most likely not.
No redirect, Ron.
She's kind of a big deal. I wish you would have spent a little more time really hammered down some details.
Yeah, I would bring up that picture and say, hey,
Yeah.
is this the person you're talking about who's clearly wearing a beanie?
Yeah. Like pick out these facts that she's saying, the 8:15, the
Yeah.
year. And then also like having them point him out, that's damning. You gotta like
United States
backtrack on
calls
that.
Riley Stokes.
Like, is that the guy you saw? Yes, that's him. You don't know that.
No, and she wasn't contacted till 3 years later, and they're showing her if they're doing this thing where they say,
Is this the guy?
"Is this the guy you saw outside your house?" Yeah,
Yeah, they could have shown her a guy dressed in black on a bike anywhere and said, "Is
Yeah.
this the guy you saw?" And he should probably say, "Yeah."
and again, she's a nosy neighbor. She would love to self-insert her in this, so she says, "Yeah, sure." And then she can go talk to her the other biddies about, I'm a witness. She kind of reminds me a little bit about from the Black Widower trial.
All the biddies at the hairdresser.
Yeah, all the
at
biddies.
hair salon.
I didn't like him. He had a certain vibe.
He wasn't listening to me. He was half deaf.
Yeah, I kept talking to him and he didn't answer.
Oh
And
yeah,
was half
he
deaf.
turned off his hearing aid.
Yeah.
What's your rank? Master Deputy. All right. Want to make sure I get that right. Master Deputy, who do you work for?
Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah,
And how long
Robin
have you
Rowe,
been
you are right.
2013.
And what have you done for the Greenville County Sheriff's Department?
Work uniform patrol.
This guy would really like to sell you a slightly used Ford Pinto. He'll personally guarantee that it can run all the way through the parking lot. Oh, he looks like a sleazy car salesman.
K9, homicide, master deputy on uniform patrol, and I'm in CID now.
What is CID?
It is Criminal Investigation Division, and I'm assigned to the arson unit.
What does the arson unit do?
Investigate fires. Yes, sir.
Those can be complex.
Exactly, Paula.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And if you're shown a picture, your mind will say, yeah, that's the guy.
Christina Parcell.
Oh yeah.
How did you get involved in that murder?
At the time, in 2021, I was assigned to the homicide unit, and I was contacted while at the law enforcement center in the homicide office to respond to that location in reference to a death investigation.
And did you respond?
I did.
All right. About what time did you respond?
Roughly 11:30, around that time frame.
Was there a lot of manpower asked to come out there and assist in this investigation?
Yes, sir, there was.
So did you respond out to 113 Canebrake? I'm sorry, 122 Canebrake?
Yes, I responded to that location and assisted in blocking off the already roped off scene using my patrol vehicle at that time.
What did the scene look like when you got there?
Crime scene tape was already up, blocking off the roadway. The roadway was still open. However, there was nothing blocking the actual road, so that's why I used my patrol vehicle. And there were multiple investigators on scene, along with other uniformed patrol deputies as well.
I'm just asking you to just bring that mic from just a touch for us to make sure, I just want to make sure the jury can hear you.
Copy. Gotcha.
And so, so when you got there, what was the first thing you did when you got there?
I met with Investigator Sparkman, and I was tasked with starting the neighborhood canvass.
Okay. So Investigator Department was lead investigator on scene?
Yes.
All right. And what was your, so were you delegated duties, I guess?
Yes, I was. As far as the neighborhood canvass, checking for security cameras within the immediate vicinity of the incident location.
All right, so two questions. One, what was the purpose of that? And two, how did y'all organize that?
So the purpose of that was to try and determine who was at the residence that morning, and then develop a timeline if we were able to do so. And can you repeat your second part of the
How
question?
did y'all organize it?
So I was tasked with actually being over the neighborhood canvass. And that being said, there was about 6 investigators total that assisted in that. And once they found cameras at certain houses, they would let me know where they were at, and we would go contact the homeowners and try to make contact with them.
And so in assisting in the neighborhood canvass, do you come familiar with the Canebrake neighborhood?
Yes, very.
And how many houses do you think you canvassed that day?
Probably 25 to 30 myself.
And how would it work? Would you just knock on the door?
We would start by, we started at the incident location and realized there was a Ring doorbell directly across the street from 122, and that was located at 121. And from there, we circled out utilizing Canebrake Drive all the way down to Saratoga and around the entire neighborhood.
Demonstratives.
Yay.
I like demonstratives.
All right, Master Deputy Stokes, I'm going to show you what State's Exhibit 107. I know it's kind of big and bulky. I'm going to hold it right here. Can you tell this jury what this is?
That is a map of the Canebrake subdivision.
All right. And is this an accurate depiction of the subdivision when you were canvassing it?
Yes, sir.
That day?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed there's addresses on here.
Yes.
As well. Do you recognize those addresses?
Yes, sir, I do.
Are those addresses points of interest?
They are.
And do you recognize those?
Yes, sir, I do.
Is this a true and accurate description of the Canebrake neighborhood with those addresses?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 107 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
Show it to us.
So this jury can understand what y'all are doing.
I'm gonna put it up there.
I think I'm showing my age by using an easel. I'll do my best. Go on, swap around. All right. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Sure. I'll try to turn it. How about that? Sure. Thank you.
You didn't think this through, did you?
You see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's go over this map. If you'll tell this jury kind of describe this map. Can you see what road this is right here?
I cannot read the writing, but I know that's South Batesville Road.
And where is the entrance to Canebrake neighborhood?
If you see the green square that's parallel with South Batesville, just above it, about 6 inches, and that's Canebrake Drive right there.
And so where did Christina Parcell live?
The 122.
And is that right there?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. And so we were talking about a ring camera that you identified. And where was that first ring camera that you identified?
At 121 Canebrake, which is directly across and at an angle from the incident location.
All right. And did you ever talk to Donna Gorman?
I did.
What address did she live in?
Hers is 117, which is directly across from 116.
Is that right here?
It is.
Okay. And then I have 116 Canebrake.
Yes.
Were you able to find anything of significance at 116 Canebrake?
Yes, they did not have a ring camera. However, they did have cameras on the front side of their house near the gutter up high and on the front side of the residence.
Okay. And then, so I'm assuming your teams of officers are walking up and down Canebrake Avenue here. And then what is this road that it deads into?
It runs into Saratoga, which comes back around, and I'm not sure of the name that it runs into. It may change names at the end. But that's Saratoga Drive that Canebrake runs into.
All right. And so is that 207 Saratoga down there?
Yes,
Is
sir,
that
it is.
accurate?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And then this is 133 Canebrake?
Yes.
All right. What is the distance between this clump of houses and then 133 and 207?
From 116 to 207 would roughly be about a half a mile. There, give or take a few hundred feet.
And so back to 121 Canebrake.
Okay.
You said you identified a ring camera.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I met with the homeowner there, I believe his name is Chris, and he had multiple activations of his Ring doorbell camera. And standing there with him, we went through that, and there was multiple vehicles that went by and set off his activations. Well, in the process of doing this, we realized at 9:15 there was a car that passed. And when that car passed, you could see the front porch of 122. There was what appears to be a male stepping into the front door. And then it goes away because it's a short clip, motion activated, and there was no more motion from the road because the car had passed. We continued to backtrack, and we were able to see that at 8:07 that morning, Ms. Parcell's vehicle is leaving. And there's multiple other activations throughout this time frame.
All right. And you reviewed the ring camera
Wait.
at 121.
Yes, I did.
So the man was
Let me
the man
close
there
you,
before
State's
she
Exhibit
left?
14.
Okay.
That's what I gathered, but
That's what it sounded like to me, and I'm like, well, that's
news.
that's news to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Show it. Show it. Show it.
All right, can you describe this to this jury what you're seeing in the background there and what caused the ring camera to?
All right, so the white SUV that passed by activates the camera, and while watching this video, you see 2 points of motion. You see the vehicle first, and then in the background, you'll see the suspect, possible suspect, stepping into the front door. Looks like a gray sweatshirt, a backpack, and dark colored pants.
Okay. What time was that at?
Now, have you reviewed?
Where?
Do you see him?
Is it in this house?
Yeah, that gray house, that gray bluish house.
This gray house? Or
No,
this
over
gray
here.
house?
Next. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Yes, that one.
This. I'm just gonna back it up because.
Back it up because when the car, you'll see him right there in the doorway.
Yeah, you
You're like
see
up
something here. Something's
See?
there.
Right there.
Do we have a time frame for this one? I can't see
Yeah,
any
what-
time.
What's the
Jury,
time for
what you're seeing in the background there and what caused the ring camera to?
Yeah,
So
someone
the white
is
SUV
here.
that passed by activates the camera, and while watching this video, you see 2 points of motion. You see the vehicle first, and then in the background, you'll see the suspect, possible suspect, stepping into the front door. Looks like
But that's a gray hoodie.
you'll see the watching this video, you see 2 points of motion. You see the vehicle first, and then in the background, you'll see the suspect, possible suspect, stepping into the front door. Looks like a gray sweatshirt, a backpack,
So she's
and
home
dark
at
colored
this
pants.
time, right?
Yeah,
Have you reviewed stills
I don't know.
of this video?
I'm just trying to figure out what time this is at.
Yeah, I can't see any time stamps anywhere. But who lets her in through the front door? Does she have a key to the sister's house?
You heard.
Because the back door is the one that was always open.
Sled Agent Rockshire testified about enhancing these photos. But when did you obtain this evidence in further to the investigation?
So I had been on scene probably 25 to 35 minutes, and as soon as I obtained this, I asked the homeowner, which is, I believe his name again was Chris, he emailed that to me, to my county phone, and I sent that to Sergeant Kelly with the Technical Services Unit with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office for reason being he could see that a lot better in his office on a large big screen TV. And
I'm
could
curious
more
where the
details
bike is.
Other than watching this on
Yeah,
television.
that's only so is anime.
A break in the case?
At this point, absolutely.
Why is that?
Because other than this, we were unsure of any suspect. This is the first sign of anything that we had was right here at this point.
So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 16.
I don't know.
Have you kind of walk us through what we're seeing on these
I don't know.
photos, okay?
Show it to me.
So that is a still shot of 122 of the initial ring camera after the white vehicle had passed. That is the suspect standing on the front stoop, front porch, directly in front of the main entranceway of the home.
All right. And is there a car to the right there?
There is.
Did you determine whose car that was?
That was Miss Parcell's, yes.
And that's 122 Cambridge, that's Ms. Parcell's house?
Yes.
What time is this?
What time is it at? They're driving me nuts.
And what is that?
That is the same incident location, 122 Cambridge, with the suspect stepping onto the front steps. I believe that will be at the top of the steps onto the front porch, same incident location.
Sorry, I'm not seeing the exhibit. That was Exhibit 18. Exhibit 19.
Will be directly after stepping onto the front porch.
Exhibit 20.
Be at the front door,
Exhibit 21.
opening the front door.
And Exhibit 22.
He's stepping in.
It's just
inside
opening
the-
and going right in.
And I know we just reviewed the video. On the video, can you see the individual going inside?
How did he get in there?
Right before it cuts off.
Unless the door was
As part of your
unlocked.
investigation in canvassing, are you also trying to establish a timeline as well?
Yes, sir.
And when reviewing the videos or the ring camera
time is
across the street of Christina Parcell's house, did you discover any other times on there that were important to your investigation?
Yes. At that time, that was 9:15 when he had stepped in. So.
Okay,
backing
so
up
that's
to
9:15.
A few other of the notifications that Mr. Chris had located. At 9:27,
No, this is an hour later than the old lady saw him.
Yeah.
And she might have been home at that point.
here, that 9:27 is for 133. We'll get to that in a minute. At 9:15, he is stepping in the house. She arrives at the home at 9:12. So just a few minutes prior.
So now we're cutting off more
Turning
minutes
into the driveway.
for him to do what he had to do.
No, that would be
Let's
some.
look at the video.
So she arrived home at 9:12. This person enters the house at 9:15.
Yeah. So she's Tara 9:12. He enters at 9:15.
And he enters through the front door, but it was always the back door that was open. Did he know that the front door was open and he just walked in? Wouldn't that be something where you need to know that the front door was open?
I mean, he could have checked it, but also usually that's the sign of somebody that knows this person.
Yeah, and again, if there's a baggie of fun powder, if she
Yeah, and the
used
old
to,
lady said she's seen that guy in black at 8:15, right?
yeah,
So how did she see him in the clothes he supposedly changed into an hour before, like over an hour after? That makes no sense. Okay.
no, and again, if he's let in, it could potentially be if that fun powder has anything she might, or if she was doing the horizontal mambo to earn some money.
All right, and so.
Wait, what time's off? But it's right there.
That is true. She was doing that stuff
In
too.
addition, were you able to see the comings and goings of Christina Parcell's car?
Yes.
Her sister Tina Parcell's car?
Yes.
And of course, you can see the arrival of Brad Post's car on,
Yes, sir.
on Mallard Road. Okay, so let's take a look at those. So I'm showing you what State's Exhibit 14. And it's approximately 8:06.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at 8:06, what kind of cars do you see at the Parcell home?
So there is a Lexus SUV and there's a silver sedan, which is the sister's vehicle.
Is that Tina Parcell?
Yes, it is. All right, this is at 8:11, and the only vehicle there is the sister. Her vehicle is in the driveway.
So, what did your investigation conclude based on that video?
Obviously, the victim in this case was no longer at her residence at that time.
At 8:11?
Yes.
But she was seen walking from there.
And what time is that?
That will be 8:35, and the silver sedan is fixing to start backing up, which will be the sister leaving.
Oh, his
What
sister
time is
left?
8:35?
So at 8:35, Tina Parcell's car.
Yeah, her vehicle leaves, yes.
Didn't the old lady said she was walking with her daughter?
That's what I thought she said.
And then this is where 9:12, the silver SUV is back in the driveway.
All right, so we know from this video
At this
that
time.
at least by 9:12,
Yep.
Christina Parcell is back at her house.
Yes. And then 3 minutes later, the 9:15 video of the suspect stepping in comes into play.
We don't know. No one was apprehended that day, so we don't know anything about this. This is all purely circumstantial, built on the DNA under her fingernails.
I'm going to show you this marked as exhibit.
But it just opens up a lot of questions that could be relevant on cross. If she had some business going on, if you know what I mean.
I'm going to show you what's case exhibit 105.
Because if she did that,
Big bulky exhibit. You recognize this?
Yes, sir, I do.
well, probably
So this
wouldn't
is
last
the
17
three
minutes.
stills that we looked at just a few moments ago, coupled with the map of Canebrake Drive.
Is it true and accurate from the information that you reviewed? on
Looked
this?
like something was going out of frame to the left. That was a bus, a school bus.
Now, State News Exhibit 105. And that is,
There's no objection.
I'll just hold it briefly. So tell the jury what we see here.
The three stills are the two on the left and the one on the right. And then this is captured, if you see
Hey,
the
Slatey
arrow
Pie.
going from 122 to 121, that shows you the distance between the ring camera and the incident location where you were able to see the suspect stepping up onto the house.
And what time was that?
That was at 9:15.
All right. Mr. Stokes, I'm going to show you, I'm going to refer you back to 116 Cambridge.
Okay.
To help establish this timeline.
All right.
So 116 is where?
It is closer to South Batesville Road.
Is that it right there?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir.
And we've already discussed images, ring cameras from 116. So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 13. Tell the jury what you're seeing.
Okay. All right, so that's the victim's vehicle driving by. That's at 9:07 a.m. And if you remember, we spoke about 9:12. This is where the gap in the video surveillance is. From 9:07 to 9:12, we don't have anything because there was no motion activation. But we know that she was at home at 9:12 and she passed that residence at 9:07.
And how far away is that residence? That's 116 to 122.
Probably 350 feet to 400 feet, roughly.
So she passed.
Why didn't the motion
9:07.
activator kick in?
And so what time does this footage of 116 show you?
This is at 10:57 a.m. and that is a red vehicle, which is Mr. Post's vehicle.
And was that vehicle in the driveway when you arrived on scene?
It was.
So now I'm going to, so you found this piece of evidence of a suspect walking into Christina Parcell's at 9:07.
Yes.
Did y'all continue to canvass even after you located that?
Yes.
And what were you looking for?
At that point, we were able to tell the suspect from that view at 9:15 from 121, looking for black pants, gray shirt, possibly a black or dark in colored backpack. We were able to look for anyone walking, a motorcycle, bicycle, anything like that. So we were able to make contact at 133 Canebrake Drive, where they do not have a ring camera, but they have surveillance footage, much like the one you just watched from the side of their house. And it has multiple different angles.
I'm sorry, I got to take you back 2 seconds.
That's fine.
I forgot, trying to get all my stuff in. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 104.
Hey, Gina.
You recognize this?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is that?
This is the still shots from 116 Canebrake Drive, along with a map of Canebrake showing 116 and the relevance to 122.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 104 in evidence.
No objection.
Objection number 104.
So that's just basically stills of the video we just saw.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, I'm sorry. We'll take you to 133 Canebrake. And so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 15. Now, in establishing this timeline, you kind of have to go into the data to figure out a little bit.
Yes. So at this location, we actually had a language barrier, and we requested that TSU, which is our technical services unit, come out and assist in pulling the video. So it took a little bit longer to get this than when we were able to get the Ring doorbell. But we were able to view this and locate a suspect on a bicycle from this location right here.
That's the picture I showed you before. He's dressed in black.
And is that what y'all located right there?
Yes, sir, it is.
And at what time is that bicycle going past 133 Canebrake?
9:27.
9:27.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit. I'm going to show you some photos. These are stills of State's Exhibit 15. All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 24.
Do all they have is this guy just driving his bike by?
All right, that is from
Like-
the still shot of the video surveillance from 133. At this point, we realized that we're looking for a white male based on the stature of the shoulders.
And how were you able to determine that it was a white male?
But you can't determine the shoulders because he has a large backpack on.
Yeah, and wait, do we know that he actually came out of that house? Or is this just in the neighborhood?
this is in the neighborhood because we didn't see any pictures of him leaving the house.
Then how do they know that this guy came from the house?
And how do they know a guy dressed in a black hoodie is the same as the guy dressed in a white hoodie?
Yeah.
That's to me is the biggest problem is he's clearly wearing black. And it was a gray or white hoodie in the other picture. So he's wearing this shirt, takes it off, puts on a white hoodie, and goes in and stabulates someone violently because he wants to collect all the blood spatter.
If you look where there's
And where
a-
was his
a
bike
mask
the whole
right
time?
there, yep.
Yeah.
There's a side of the neck that is exposed.
And what kind of bike is the suspect riding?
Yeah.
It appears to be a large frame, either a road bike or a hybrid road mountain bike.
And what kind of clothes?
Black pants, dark and colored shirt, and then a dark.
Yeah, I never heard about black and white
Gray
shoulders
gloves,
being different.
And a 95 mask.
And we have determined kind of what's on his head.
It's either a hat or a beanie.
All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 25.
Another still shot from the same, showing the same.
State's Exhibit 26.
At this point, you can also see at the neck, just behind the mask, you can see shadowing. Looks as if it's a thin beard. At that point, that confirmed that we were looking for a white male.
So, are they basing this off of what the old lady said that she saw this guy like in
No,
front of
because
that
no one
house?
talked to him till months later. They went out and said, we're looking for a guy in a gray shirt with a backpack on. And they found someone on a bike in a black shirt with a backpack on. And now he's saying that you can clearly tell this is a scruffy beard.
No.
But
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that there could be something that's not totally cromulent with this pins too soon, because I don't know if you can find any mistakes anywhere else in the picture that kind of implies that this isn't a great zoom.
No.
How can you tell this is a beard when there's holes in the tire down here? It's
State's Exhibit 27.
As we cater,
And that's the still shot from the video from 133.
he has no shoulders. He doesn't know anything about shoulders.
And State's Exhibit 28.
This is from 133, canebrake from the, if you're facing the house, it will be on the right-hand side. We have been looking at the left-hand side. This is now from the right-hand side view of it. Same individual, same time frame.
State's Exhibit
Yeah.
29.
Video surveillance from 133. This is from the right-hand side.
Can we see him parked next to the house or something?
And of course, did you keep canvassing?
We did.
Were you able to
Hey,
locate
Gina.
any more ring cameras that were important to your investigation?
Yes, sir. We located one more on Saratoga, which is the road that Canebrake Drive runs into. And that's at 207. And that was at 938. Excuse me, 928. 927 for the last house. And this one is 9.
All right. I jumped ahead again. I'm going to run you back to 133. But I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 106. State's Exhibit 106.
Yes, sir.
Is that 133?
That is 133 Canebrake Drive. Yes, sir.
And what's the timeline?
That's at 9:27 a.m. And the map below shows the location.
State moves 106 in damage, John.
No objection.
Without objection, no one shall present.
Okay. And then finally, State's Exhibit 102. State's Exhibit 102?
Yes, sir.
You recognize that?
Yes, sir. That is from the video surveillance from 133, showing the neckline of the Caucasian male.
State moves 102 in damage.
The neckline of the Caucasian.
I don't. I'm going to ask a question because I don't know anything about South Carolina. Don't you have a lot of whites in South Carolina? It seems like just because he's a pale face, it must be him. Like there's only one white guy in. It's kind of, oh, you don't know this British comedy duo where one of them always said, "I'm the only gay in the village, my fun way." But it seems like there isn't any white people other than this guy in the entire state. Oh yeah, sorry, Andrew, I forgot. Black people have different shoulders. It just seems like, well,
Yeah, that's right. There was a Latina in the neighborhood.
yeah, and it was kind of a joke, but it's kind of like set up that he must be guilty because he's a white guy.
Well, I'm not getting the connection because other than this terrible witness's account of things, how are you tying these two people together? The gray shirt guy that walked in the house and the black shirt guy riding the bike away.
Yeah, and the black shirt guy who put up his hood because it was cold, but she clearly saw his reddish sandy colored hair.
Yeah,
Who was wearing a beanie?
he's wearing a gray beanie.
Yeah. It's just so, but it just sounds like, well, he's a whitey. And it doesn't mean just because he's a cracker doesn't mean he's guilty.
Let's go to 207. Tell us story about 207 Saratoga.
207 Saratoga is down the road from the incident location. Now, the Ring doorbell at this location captured a couple walking, and then directly thereafter, the same subject that was on the bicycle captured at 1:33 was seen going from left to right, passing by the residence. This is in the same direction in which it just came from, passing 1:33.
So the last one was at 133.
Yes, sir.
And then down here to the right of State's Exhibit 107 is 207 Saratoga.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 12. Why don't you tell the story about it?
So like I mentioned earlier, Saratoga in the intersection of Canebrake is to the left of this intersection, or the front of this house. The intersection is up to the left, and here comes the gentleman on a bicycle from left to right. And that was at 9:28.
That was at 9:28. All right. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 31.
So that's a still shot from the video from 206.
So let me get this right again. He rides by an hour early, where the old lady sees him outside of her window. Clearly sees him without his beanie on, even though he had it on.
Mm-hmm.
Then he rides around, and at 9:12 he enters. 9:15 he enters the house in a gray hoodie. Stabulates a lady 31 times, drags her into the living room, places her on the floor. We haven't heard much about the rose petals. I don't know what, if any, significance that have now.
The only person that mentioned it was what's his face, Post. He said it looked like there was rose petals like around her or something like that. But anyways.
Yeah. But then he leaves the house again and is seen after he changed his clothes and got a bigger backpack on than he had when he entered the house, because that only covered half his back. He dresses completely different and rides his bike down the road in what looks like a normal biking pace. It's not like he's running from anything. It's not like anything. He does all of that in 12 minutes. He enters the house, unalives her, places her in there, changes his clothes, gets back, finds his bike, which we haven't seen where he parked the bike, and then drives off.
Yeah,
Do I have the timeline correct?
that's what we've heard so far.
Yeah. He caught her eyes because of his bridesmaid shoulders. Yeah.
7, Saratoga.
State's Exhibit 32.
Another still shot, same location.
Is that the same individual at 133 Canebrake?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit 33.
Same individual, same video surveillance, still shot.
State's Exhibit 34.
Another still shot.
I know they're just putting this in to imply they have a lot of evidence, but there's no evidence in this.
We have.
It's just the same as the video.
207 Saratoga.
And he looks like he looked like anybody. There's no distinctive features about this random person.
It's made shoulders, as Brandon puts it.
So in establishing everything that we talked about now, did you create sort of a timeline?
So
of
what we
events?
have linking him to the scene, which we haven't heard about now, is the DNA under her fingernails. And a lady asked 3 years later, said, yeah, clearly it's him.
So what happened on October 13th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm just going to ask you, and I'll help you the best I can.
Right.
You see me moving a lot around here and holding up a lot of exhibits, so we need to refer back to when we can.
Right.
But I'd just like to ask you to give this jury a timeline of events of that morning.
All right, so based on the
Here we go.
neighborhood canvas, we were able to find from 807 was the first initial to 1104, 1105 is when EMS, fire department personnel are on scene. As we talked about earlier, we have the subject walking in the front door at 9:15. We were able to back up and see the videos of her leaving and then coming back, and seeing from 116 Canebrake. That shows that she returned, and directly thereafter, you get to go back to 121. She's back at the house. He steps in at 9:15, and then at 9:27, he passes 133. At 9:28, he passes 207 Saratoga. That's a very short time frame.
Yeah, that's the problem. You have to cut off at least 1 or 2 minutes because he has to get on his bike without activating the motion cameras. He has to get on his bike and start biking. So the 12-minute timeline is down to like 10 minutes now, where he has to change his clothes, stabulate her 31 times. I don't know.
When you break it down from 9:12, that she's there. We know that she had returned at 9:07. And then he's passing 207, Saratoga, 9:28.
And did you speak with Donna Gorman as well?
I did.
And so what time, do you remember what time she saw, approximately what time she saw a bicycle?
She mentioned in between 8 and 8:15 the same morning that she had saw a gentleman on a bicycle going from South Batesville toward 122 Canebrake.
I got one last exhibit, State's Exhibit.
Okay, so if he's
103.
riding around on his bicycle in black at 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't know. This is weird.
Was that?
That is 207 Saratoga, where the gentleman on bicycle is going from left to right.
State moves 103 to evidence, Your Honor. No objection. Objection. So finally, were y'all sharing all this information as this investigation was ongoing?
Yes, sir.
And you shared it with Detective Sparkman?
Yes, sir. As soon as I obtained it, that was sent to my county computer and then transferred directly over to his county computer via Q Drive. So that he has immediate access to it.
I'll just ask you to answer any questions the defense counsel may have.
Yes, sir.
Just real briefly, so what was the very first photograph or video that you have of a bicycle?
The first bicycle that we had was from 1:33 to 9:27 a.m.
9:27.
I
So
didn't even
you don't have
see
any
that.
video or any photographs of a bicycle prior to 9:15 when you say you saw somebody?
No, we didn't see the bicycle at 9:15.
I'm sorry, did you see, or before 9:15?
No, we did
Okay,
not.
did you canvass the neighborhood? Well, during your canvass of the neighborhood, did you look for timeframes before 9:15 also?
Yes, sir. We backed it up, and before 8 a.m., there was nothing of relevance at that.
But he was.
Okay, nothing further, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What?
Why don't you hit this harder?
Thank you, sir.
Why don't you hit this harder? Why didn't you point out to the jury that there was two different color shirts?
Yeah, can we approach?
Are we gonna call it a day? I would have hammered home on the two different colors.
How come those attorneys seemed like they had it all in the bag when they were arguing about the CP stuff?
Yeah.
And then now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the whole case, and they're like, they ask like one question or they're wobbling around.
It's weird that they are this bad at this time. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Again, I just want to remind you that you are prohibited from watching any TV coverage of the trial. You should not do any research or anything, or talk with anyone involved, or research anyone involved in the case. You're not to look at any social media. And I feel like I've thoroughly advised you all of this. I have no question that you are abiding by my instructions and also your oath as jurors. Again, I want to just tell you how much and how grateful I am on behalf of the state of South Carolina and Greenville County for your service. I'm going to see y'all back at 9:30 in the morning, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's more detectives or something. They're waiting for that guy.
Yeah, but I would still point out, because it's such crucial evidence, that the shirt is switched. And well, we need someone to. I haven't read anywhere that they found any clothes with blood spatter or anything on.
Thank you, mistake. Defense? No, Your Honor. All right, I'll see y'all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Jamie. Tomorrow, you better be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I may.
You may be bright-eyed.
I might. Can't guarantee it.
Well, interesting day today, even though it has been quite a drag at some points. Started late, we are on a delay, and it's 11 past 11. And I have court tomorrow. But luckily, I don't feel so feverish anymore. Maybe the hot chocolate worked. What do we know by now? We know she was found around 11, and her fiance was the one who called it in, stating he didn't want to do CPR, she was gone. We see him on the video. It doesn't look like he's been in a fight or have any blood on him. Then we had a lot of chain of evidence, and apparently, I believe it was in this house, because we haven't heard about the defendant's house, that there was a baggie of fun powder. And we heard from her fiance that he was harassed by envelopes with nude pictures of the decedent. And apparently she was put up on a website for escorts, but we don't know if he was asked, do you know about her past history with that? And he didn't say anything. So we don't know if she had that job, because that could be an explanation to why his DNA can be on her if she was engaging in that. We know they canvassed the neighborhood. They talked to all the people with Ring cameras. Imagine that, Canton. You can do that. And some lady claims she saw the defendant looking back at her before he put his mask on, because he stopped his bike in the middle of the street, put a mask on, put his hoodie up, and rode off. An hour before he allegedly entered the house. That alone doesn't prove he was at the house. That's an hour before, and he was in black, not the gray shirt that we see in the photo entering the house.
Yeah.
And we learned that black people and white people have different shoulders.
They do.
I'm a bit disappointed with the defense. I have to say that they're not good on cross.
Yeah, because that would exactly, Jess. Because if they're saying that he was seen around the neighborhood at 8 in the morning in the black, then he had to go change to the gray.
He
do what he did, then change back to the black, and then leave.
To make the story work, he is canvassing the neighborhood an hour before, driving past the house, noticing that 2 cars are home, so he doesn't go there. He then, at some point after the sister leaves, without being picked up by the motion-activated cameras, rides by, puts his bike somewhere, takes his black hoodie off, and either have a gray hoodie underneath or have one in his backpack. Walks up to the front of the house 3 minutes after they allege she came home. They don't have that because the camera didn't motion activate with her arriving at the home as well. Walks straight in through the front door. That's the thing I'm wondering about, because when they said the back door is always open, giggity, I was thinking, well, he could have snuck in and done it. But he walks up to the front door, walks straight in. To me, that's a little, there must be some familiarity there. And then, because I'm a horrible person, I start thinking about, could it have something to do if she was a lady of the night? But then he goes inside the house at 9:15, instantly stabulates her 31 times, puts her in the living room, goes back out, finds his bike, puts on his black hoodie again, and rides off. And all of this can be proven because white people and black people have different shoulders. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
There's white peeking from his neckline, so that's what they got.
Yeah, and you can see it on the shoulders.
But regardless of the color of his skin, it's him. It's him, and that lady too. That's him. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, because you could see a shadow next to his mask. That could be a scruffy beard. Yeah, but it could also be a mistake because you did the pins to zoom thing, and we know that washes out the picture. We just go back and see all the mistakes I found in the picture. There was at least 3 holes in the tires, in the rim and the tire of the bicycle. So how can you even tell that it was a shadow or a beard or whatever?
You can't. I have no idea.
I'm not convinced so far. I'm interested in the DNA evidence. And I hope for the defense's sake that they wake up tomorrow. Yeah, Paula B., I'm in total agreement with you. The defense haven't done a good job. They need to be there tomorrow. Maybe they're waiting with all the fireworks to the lead detective and the crime scene specialist. Yeah. But why wouldn't you point out to the jury that there are 2 different colored shirts?
And when do they expect him to have changed clothes and this and that? Like, point out some of these this timeline and kind of make it look stupid.
Yeah,
That's what
because
they need to do.
you have a 12-minute timeline that's all of a sudden, because he has to get back to his bike, get on his bike, change his shirt, and drive down to the next house. That's 2 minutes, because he has to leave the house, find his bicycle, put his shirt on, and then drive. That's at least 2 minutes out of the timeline. So now he has 10 minutes, if we are generous, to get into the house, attack her, stabulate her 31 times, place her, leave the house again. We haven't heard much about how the crime scene looked, but was there a big fight? Did it look disturbed? And the guy biking didn't look like someone who was fleeing a crime scene.
Well, and they can't pinpoint, other than that woman, the eyewitness lady, which I'll rely on her at all. They can't pinpoint him coming from that house specifically. So
No, and she clearly didn't see him, and no one talked to her till 3 years later. So why did they pinpoint this guy? Because he was apprehended a month later.
And did they put this stuff like on the news? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, if you see this guy, like maybe she saw it on TV or on internet.
They gave her a picture and said, do you recognize this guy? Yeah, he looks like the guy on the bike outside. Is it this guy? And then they show her a picture of the defendant. And he said, yeah, sure, that's him. I don't know if that's how they did it, but that's a really good way to imprint a false memory in someone. Yeah, that's a lot of stabulation in very short order. It seemed like the police officer said it was mostly in this area, so it's going to be interesting when we get the medical examiner. Yeah, and how is it that none of this triggered the cameras? This lady said it's always triggered by cars, but it didn't trigger when she came home. Didn't trigger when he walked up till the front door. It's just weird.
It is.
Yeah, and 4 streets away. Is she canvassing the neighborhood? That could be a good way to explain it. Maybe they have his phone data saying, well, he was driving around circles, canvassing the neighborhood. Could be. But why did he change his shirt? I don't get it. And again, with 31 stabulations, I'm just saying he would have been painted red. That's a lot of stabulations, Jamie.
I mean, it is.
But we'll have to pick it up again tomorrow. He said 9:30, so we will start at 10 because court is on delay. We'll be a little bit later, earlier than 10 Eastern. But please join us. We will hopefully get more, because I'm more confused now than I was this morning.
Yeah.
I thought they had a pretty good timeline. I thought they had him leaving the house. That's what I understood when I read it. But they had him 3 houses down the road. How can you prove that's the same guy who left the house?
That's what I mean. It's really
There's so much here. A pianist can be hard to identify simply by photo. Yeah, it's not like he was carrying around his piano.
Oh my Lord.
Guess we found another town where physics doesn't matter and fact don't matter. Again, there's hard evidence with the DNA under the fingernails. That's going to be a hard one to explain. But still, the timeline. But I need the defense they need to step up.
Yeah.
If they want to win this.
They were fighting hard for that CP, so come on, guys.
Yeah, they did really well with the motions yesterday. They were on top on case law and everything. But today, not impressed.
No.
Yeah, please do all the YouTube things before you leave. And please come back in the morning and watch it again. Tell your friends, tell your family. Because, it's fun when we are more, and then Jamie doesn't yell so much at me. See you all later.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100. Because it is 100% correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.